Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados right here on Thinking Critical YouTube. Your Saturday morning delight is here. And we've got a wonderful panel. Aaron Sparrow is taking the Saturday off. He's got some other things to do, but we've got some great people, starting with the Perch Man returning. How you doing, Perch?
I'm doing great. Happy holidays, everybody. It's the last time I probably see all of you for the year, so early Merry Christmas and glad to be here.
You're not going to drop me a Merry Christmas note or something?
No, I'll do that. But I mean, in public like this with all the people that make fun of me.
Oh, that's true. This is, yeah. We only get Perch every like 2 months or so, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
You're a very busy man.
I'm busy. I've got to go back out of the country again for a while, but I'm glad to be here, glad with everybody, and it's always good to see all of you. And a lot of you who I've now met in real life, except Doc.
It's true. Doc is the one that decided not to come visit us in Dallas. Hopefully he does next time.
Next time.
So this was actually like a pretty darn good week. When I was looking at all the stuff, I think I was recommending 4 or 5 indie books, 2 Marvel books, 2 DC books. Like all around, it was like pretty exciting.
I agree. I think there were a lot of good books out this week and some surprising ones out here that were better than they had a right to be, or better than they may have looked at on the surface. There were some just solid, good books.
Yeah, I was really blown away by Gene Yang on TMNT. Obviously, you knew Freddie Williams was going to be really good. But if you liked TMNT and you thought what Jason Aaron was doing was weird, he basically just mind wipes all of it, goes right back to regular TMNT status, other than the throwing back of Splinter.
Yeah, this is the year on a whole. 2025, we can debate it later. Better than 2024, better than 2023. I think they were getting the best year out of about a close to 10-year run now. This was a good year for comics.
Yeah, kind of led almost exclusively by DC and Indies, though. It's kind of weird that Marvel didn't join the party for the most part.
Yeah, well, Marvel has some issues. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But I as a whole, look, I mean, crazy 10-year run.
Dude, so what's going on with Next Level? We know DC, they're kind of replacing a lot of their C and D tier titles. When are we going to get the news on this stuff, dude?
By solicitation, it would start to have to trickle out next month. So I think by the time we get into the new year, I wouldn't be surprised if they start launching a little bit right at the end of the year to get people hyped for 26. But in January, just from a retailer perspective, that's when some of the stuff starts to be revealed. So I think I would guess January is when we're going to get a lot more.
After reading Aquaman this week, I want Jeremy Adams on the Hawkman book.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. Phenomenal. He did a good job. That was a good book. I'm not a huge fan of the fights. That concept isn't necessary for me, but I've liked some of the things that have come out of it, like that title. I thought that book was a really good one.
Man, so you don't like the Mortal Kombat style big tournament fights?
It's not the biggest thing for me. They're not doing it badly. It's not for me. I'm not usually a fan of that kind of contest. Not when Marvel does it, not when anyone does it. But I get who it appeals to. I totally get why they would do that. And it does set up some interesting battles. And look, I think some of the writers are making the most out of it, like in that Aquaman book. It was just solid.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. So I'm kind of excited there's a Firestorm book. We haven't had an ongoing Firestorm from DC for a very long time. I feel like that's a really underused character. The last time he really got any shine that I thought was significant, obviously, was during like Blackest Night. They're going to be doing a Firestorm book. Am I going to be happy with the creative team, Perch?
On Firestorm? Oh, man, I can't remember. I don't know. No, I don't. I don't remember.
Don't tell me Dennis Camp's going to be on it, dude.
No. There's some good writers. There's some good pairings, and there's some not the ones that don't appeal to me. I guess the best way to put it. But my only hope for what DC does, and I fear they'll do what a lot of these companies do every time, is they'll try and bring a new twist to the character in the kind of the launch. Like you don't like with Hawkman. The reason why that was so cool in the Aquaman book this week is you didn't see a weird new status quo being introduced for Hawkman. You just saw kind of core the character doing what the character does great and really excelling on that. And I think with a lot of these characters like Firestorm, there's a lot of good just basic stuff to nail before you start, saying let's do a weird twist where he's living with his second grandmother and he's a food truck owner. Like don't get creative in that sense. Just make the character cool. Bring that stuff in later.
Dude, are you with me, Sully? Are you excited for a Firestorm book, dude?
Heck yeah. Bring it back. Give me like teenage Ronnie Raymond and Dr. Stein, and let's mash them together and find out some like science problems to simple solutions. Simple,
So you don't want the new
Love it.
firestorm that they had during Blackest Night.
No, not really. That was what Genna and Jason Rush. That was kind of weird. I mean, I love the original Firestorm. I mean, I was a kid when he was like introduced in the Super Friends, and he had such a really interesting power set. And like you had to have a mentor. You had a mentor mentee relationship in there, and you got to learn about science too. It's like, no, Ronnie, turn that into like phosphorus, and we can burn out Lex Luthor. Or something.
Jeez, Sully's learning how to make improvised explosive devices.
No, thank you.
That's what comic books are for.
Those little learning things. I mean, a good comic book, in my opinion, always had me reaching for the dictionary, encyclopedia, and thesaurus. I mean, because they always introduced like new words to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the encyclopedia, the old school internet.
The old school internet. Yeah.
Maybe you only had 5 volumes because that's all your mom could afford when they came by.
Oh man, no! She got me the entire Britannica.
You got to get R. You got to get T.
Man.
So there we go. We got Perch returning. Any big videos that you got or interviews that people need to know about Perch?
I'm doing some stuff toward the end of the year that will be surprising. I'll just leave it at that. I have some guests next week. I'm doing some. It'll be a fun time. It'll be a different time.
Very nice. Be on the lookout for some new sides of Perch.
Yeah, why not?
I've noticed that your production skills have like kind of gone through the roof over the last 6 months.
It's because my daughter is doing it. My 12-year-old daughter she is the person handling most of my videos right now. So she will do the editing and she'll put the stuff together, and people were complaining about some of the AI that was her messing around. So I record the videos in the car, and then she takes it from there and does what she needs to do. And I'm probably a bad parent because she hears me curse all the time, but hopefully she doesn't understand all the references that I'm putting out there. Like I went down a track on Fast Times on Ridgemont High in one particular scene there a lot, and then realized I shouldn't have my kids editing this, but it's all good. Parent of the year. So doing that, and I think that's helped out a lot. One thing, I am going to actually have my comic book that I've been working on for the past 6 years in people's hands next year. So it is.
You're doing it fine.
It's I think I have 4 more pages to color out of 176 pages, and we are done, and we're getting it out there to you.
You going to do it in one volume, or are you going to break it up?
Probably going to break it up. So
probably 3?
Probably 6.
Ooh, very nice. Congratulations, dude.
Yeah, we'll get that out to everybody, and I hope you like it. And it will, right now, my current feeling is I'm going to just put it out there on digital for free. And then if people want a physical copy, I'll figure out how to get you to pay for the printing. But otherwise, that's it. That's the model.
So I will say this to Little Perch, the people whining about the AI stuff. Anytime you put an AI image up there, people are going to whine, but the clicks go up. So,
okay, she's helping me make money.
Competing metrics on there. Do you want complaints, or do you want people to actually watch the video?
And this is any advice here. She will generally ignore it because I tell her to. But when people complain every now and then, when I don't pay attention, she goes in there and gets into aggressive brawls with people, and I think they're talking to me. And then they don't
realize you're talking to a 12-year-old girl.
That's right. And she's a lot meaner than I am. So she will go she'll go right for all the insults that a 12-year-old think, like, you're a virgin. And I'm sure that sounds really funny.
Cotton-headed ninny muggins?
It's very funny. Yeah.
I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah, very nice.
I love it.
We've also got, obviously, returning to the channel is Tommy from World of War Comics. I know you've been on a hot streak with like tons of interviews going on. I know Dylan got to join you for the Jimmy P interview, dude. That was awesome.
Fun. Jimmy is one of my favorites to talk to. He goes into tangents, and it's just kind of fun. And I don't know, it was good to have Dylan on there too, man.
So what do you got coming up next? You got any more big interviews before the end of the year? Or are you starting to wind it down and get into family dad mode for Christmas?
No, I'm a grandpa now. All my kids are older, so we'll be spending some time with the grandkids, obviously, during the holiday. They all live within a mile, so it's kind of nice. But yeah, I got Raymond Gay on today, one of my favorite artists, up and coming. He's actually going to be the artist on The Darkness moving forward, so we'll talk about that. That's tonight. We got, what else? I got Philip Kennedy Johnson on Monday. We'll be talking about the Marvel contract that he's on, see if we can't get any ideas of what he might be doing outside of Infernal Hulk at Marvel. I'm sure he won't be able to talk
Wolverine.
about it. Wolverine. Yeah. We'll put that in his ear. Like, hey, any chance you might get Wolverine or something X-Men related? That would be really, really nice. But yeah, and then Todd McFarlane in January. Jason Aaron's coming back in January. What else? Mark Miller. Been talking to his team over there, so hopefully have him at the end of January, early February. I'm sure he's going to have some news next year as well. But yeah, it's been fun.
Very, very nice. I know you're also a big MMA fan.
I am.
Last weekend they had a big card. There was a couple of title fights on it. Then I think everyone else on the main card had been a title holder.
Yeah. What
happened? Why was everybody so mad by the end?
I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good card. I enjoyed it. It was one of the better cards that we've had, I think, in a while, man.
Is it just because the one dude blew his elbow out when he was taken down?
Dude, that's one of my favorite fighters. I was so sad that happened. The elbow just exploded.
I love Van. I think Van is going to be, like, in the next few years, I think we're going to be talking a lot about him. But to win that way, and I don't know, man.
That's how Shogun lost to Mark Coleman. You do not post your arm on a takedown. You're going to break it.
You're going to break it. And actually, you know, it was funny. It wasn't his elbow. It looked like his elbow blew out. They said it was his shoulder.
No, that they were dead wrong about that. They said that for some reason the UFC, they showed 800 replays of his elbow exploding. And then like Dana at the press conference was like, no, actually it was his shoulder. And then they came out later and were like, yeah, we were wrong about that. Like Pantosha's team was like, no, it was his elbow. They're like, no.
His elbow
I don't know why the UFC said that. Like they had 200 different angles. They played it a billion times. His elbow just exploded. But for some reason, I have no idea why Dana was like his shoulder.
Yeah.
Clear as day it wasn't.
Yeah.
But the main event was really good, even though it went to decision. Like they just decided to throw down for 5 rounds.
Peter Yan decided to.
Yeah.
I should say that.
There's like 29 takedown attempts or something.
Yeah. If it was up to him, it would not have been a throwdown. That's his whole goal is to make sure a fight doesn't happen every single fight. And he generally gets to do it because his cardio is insane. But Yan made sure that didn't happen. What a cool story for Peter Yan, though.
What do you think, Dylan? Was it a good card?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good card. It's unfortunate with Cejudo. He never should have came back out of retirement because I really like Cejudo, but they just fed him to a younger guy that beat his ass.
He shouldn't have retired the first time. He should have just kept fighting if he wanted to do more.
Yeah, but he wanted money. He wanted his recognition because he's a 2-division champ. He's really exciting, but the UFC is like, no one cares about you.
Cheap at 125. Yeah. Nobody shows up for those pay-per-views.
No, 125 and 135. He was double champ.
Yeah.
He was double champ of 2 of the best divisions in the UFC.
But they're the smallest draws.
Yeah, they're the smaller divisions, but they are 2 of the best divisions. Like they're so much better than like welterweight and above.
Yeah, but Rey Mysterio wasn't making Hulk Hogan money, even though he was having the better matches, you know?
That's not real, though. I'm talking about actual fights.
Oh,
my
goodness.
Come on.
That stuff.
Easy, brother. Easy.
It's like with that, you can make an entertaining heavyweight WWE match. 90% of heavyweight UFC is dog shit. It sucks. It's terrible.
Precisely. But this is why we're on the cusp of the retirement of John Cena tonight. It's the final.
Exactly.
It's the end of an era.
Dylan just throwing shade all over the NWO and the Monday Night Wars is not cool, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you were there with alive back then. Come on.
Yeah, he probably was. That's fine. I guess it was over 20 years ago now, isn't it?
I mean, a little further.
Yeah, funny how time flies. So, what's going on in your channel, Dylan? You got any big videos that came out this week, or you're going to be having coming up soon?
I did one video where I went out and I found like a fan vote list for like the top 10 Batman stories, and then I rearranged it how I would do it and like gave my reasonings for that. So that was fun. It was a good time.
Whenever you look at the consensus Batman like list, there's some good books in there, but there's some way overvalued stuff. Like Hush is always in the top 5 for some reason. And while it might be the best illustrated Batman story of all time, it's not the best Batman story ever.
Yeah, there's some books in there that I didn't necessarily agree with, but it was fun to rearrange it.
What was your number 1?
Black Mirror, because that was in there surprisingly.
Ooh,
I did
nice.
not expect Black Mirror to be in there because it was a Dick Grayson book, so I thought
Yeah.
maybe it wouldn't be in there, but it was. So I was like, ooh, and that's my favorite regardless. So
I'm with you,
that in
dude.
there.
I think
Yeah.
that's easily the best thing Scott Snyder's ever done in his writing career.
And lots of Jock art too. I mean, we got that reunion this week too with Absolute. We got Jock and Snyder back together, and that was a great. Wow, Black Mirror, way to go.
Yeah.
What do you think,
incredible.
Perch? I really wish Scott would tone it down and go down to those smaller scale stories like Black Mirror, or even kind of Court of Owls is small compared to what he does now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like it too. I think his subtle stuff is better for sure, but it doesn't sell better. I mean, he's going where the money is, and that's what you'd want him doing. He sells a lot better when he goes over the top. But I like Black Mirror. That's to me, that's his best Batman book. Although he doesn't love it when you tell him that.
No?
Pro tip, yeah.
No, he wants to hear about Court of Owls or Dark Knight Spell or something.
Well, I mean, in fairness, I mean, who wants to hear like, "Hey, your best stuff was
before you got on
the rearview mirror"? It was so long ago, but it was your best stuff. I mean, there's kind of two ways to take that compliment.
Yeah, I could see that one.
Yeah.
What were you saying there, Tommy? I'm sorry I interrupted you there, buddy.
No, I didn't say nothing. I'm good.
Oh,
Yep.
felt like I ran over you.
No, we were talking Dylan too, man. We had a good time together, and yeah, it was fun.
Dude, are you guys gonna do more like tag team interviews?
I think so, man. Definitely.
You
Dylan,
should get him in there for the PKGA interview. He's the world's biggest PKJ fan too.
Dylan doesn't like tag teams. He doesn't like wrestling.
He doesn't like wrestling. Weirdo.
They don't have tag teams in the UFC. That's what the UFC needs, a tag team division.
They need Chief Jay Strongbow and his brother Jules. You're right. They're my favorite tag team of all time.
They need it. The UFC needs a tag team division.
I've seen tag team MMA. They try to do it in like Czechoslovakia or something. It's not good because they're not allowed to punch. They can only slap each other, and because of the tags and stuff, it wasn't not nearly as fun as it sounds like it could be. All right, Sully, what's going on with you, buddy? This was a good comic book week.
I had a blast. I got
You had like $45.
I spent $30 at my local comic book shop this past Wednesday on 7 floppies, and I loved it, every one of them. Even Ultimate Spider-Man. I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man 23 came out this week, and it's like
We finally got Spider-Man.
we finally got some Spider. Yeah, I mean, it's a little too late, and I don't think any of this Ultimate Universe place is going anywhere. I mean, but hey, finish your story and land it and entertain me for Christ's sakes, please. I mean, about time.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one as well. Although it did feel too little, too late, and I definitely didn't like the part where Spider-Man says, that was a long time ago. I'm better now. I was like, I really wish you could have showed me that over the last 17 issues of him getting better and defeating people that he was losing to before.
Yeah, he got like the South Park, training montage, and he got better overnight. The 80s song.
So we do have a few more Patreon backers here on Thinking Critical this week. Definitely a huge shout out and thank you to Charlie Cauldron, aka Victor Hex, the protector of Grey Watch. Hope you're enjoying all the extra podcasts and videos. And welcome to the family to Axisoni, the Ruin Breaker himself, the protector of the Last Ward. And if you are interested in supporting us on Patreon or channel memberships, you get a superhero name, you get a series to protect. But even better than that, you get exclusive videos and podcasts featuring all of your favorite guests here on Think Critical Patreon. And we have a good time with that. And the people are already out. I guess they found out Perch was going to be here. Adam Frey says, here's a donation to get Perch some extra Arby's next time you're in Texas. Extra rare. Wow.
I got nothing. Why? Just why? One closed recently near me, and I just felt a sense of holiday pride and warmth. I went home happy. It was like that the Happy Peanuts music was playing in my mind as that store went bankrupt. It's just a good feeling for the holiday.
American families went out of business for the holidays and you're happy?
Yes.
Jeez, you really do. It's not just a bit, is it?
No, I do hate that restaurant, yes.
Are you the reason that they had that frivolous lawsuit claiming that they're not using real meat?
No, but it's, of course, like everybody knows this. I sent you a link this week. Some woman got food poisoning after there was, pepper spray in the Arby's from DoorDash. And my point here is that the pepper spray killed off the salmonella. That's what saved her life. She would have been dead.
My point is you can't blame her because it's fucking Arby's. Even if they pepper spray it, you got to give it a shot, right?
I mean, I do. Look, I mean, if you are, they should do a mental wellness check on this woman, because if you're ordering Arby's on DoorDash, is she okay? This is clearly a call for help. Is a suicide attempt.
Man, I love me some Arby's, but yeah, that's what Perch does. He just randomly sends me all this like anti-Arby's propaganda.
That's true. Yeah.
To mess with me because he knows that I have a lifelong relationship with Arby's that I love. Caleb says, I predict the Supergirl movie will end with the power was always within her, with self-validation, and her ovaries will glow in more feminist BS.
Yes.
I don't think her ovaries are going to glow. That's probably...
No, won't be her ovaries.
They're not going to put that kind of CG into that movie.
Yeah, that costs a lot of money.
No, I mean, this has to... My take is this should set up the salvation stuff they're going to do in the next Superman movie. That's my feeling. We'll see how that goes.
What did you think of the trailer there, Perch? Were you
It's okay. I mean, there's not enough. I'm not a big trailer reaction guy, because I think the trailers are designed to show you a little clips out of sequence, out of context, with flashy music behind it, and it's kind of a visual blur. So I think trying to draw stuff out of the trailer is always tough to do. It was fine. I mean, they're clearly leaning more into the dog because the dog was popular and good, I guess. And they had some music. It was a perfectly good trailer. Nothing to complain about. Also, I think tells us almost nothing other than we fighting aliens. You
liked it when the dog pissed all over Superman's picture?
No, I didn't like it or dislike it. It was a cheap gag. I mean, that's a James Gunn gag if there's ever was a James Gunn gag. I don't think the movie's going to be filled with him pissing on Superman, but that would be funny. But anyway, we're going to see Brainiac take a city. We saw that much. We saw Lobo for like a quarter of a half of a second.
And a cigar.
It's fine. It's like, what do you? I talked to somebody and they're like, man, I really want to see more of the drama and the character coming out. Like in a trailer, what are you looking for?
Well, it's just marketing. It's supposed to part you with your $100 on opening night, right?
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Jagron says, hey, I know I might be pushing too hard, but maybe we could get Perch, Doc, and West together to review Ultimate Endgame #1. They all need some Dennis. I don't know, a three-way dance on a comic book review? That's we don't need a third wheel on a review.
No, I'm the third wheel. You do just fine with Doc.
Yeah, if we want to do like a rewriting a story that didn't work or something, you can do it with 3 people. But just a simple comic book review, and you're going to do Ultimate Endgame on your channel anyway, Perch.
Probably not, because I won't be reading it and driving at the same time, but we'll see.
Honestly, the result of you driving and reading a Dennis Camp comic is probably preferable to you than just reading the Dennis Camp comic.
Yeah. Did you get to read
it would be for
Ultimate
me.
Universe 2 years in?
Me, yes. Yeah, look, the Ultimate Universe, to me, I think you're seeing this is my own personal opinion. So I think you're seeing this universe end a little bit quicker than they necessarily intended. I think it's sort of lost the plot a little bit, kind of midway through the run, about 10 issues ago. I don't know. Hickman seemed to become interested in other things. I mean, he's still reading the comic. Comic was fine, but some people already pointed out Spider-Man kind of stopped being in it a bunch. And then Dennis Camp's doing the Ultimates, but that really started feeling more and more like a one and done. Let's just do a kind of a tour through the Marvel universe and bring people in. So I couldn't really tell where it's going. Now Dennis Camp's doing stuff with DC. A couple of the other people are moving there. So I think you have kind of this accelerated end to this whole series, and then they've got to figure out what comes next. But unlike, if you compare the Absolute Universe, the Ultimate Universe, not always fair. The Absolute Universe still feels like there's a point that they're driving to, and the Ultimate Universe seemed to slip into a little bit of like, we're putting out comics, and then some of them were good comics, but for these imprints, in theory, they're going somewhere, and that was my problem with it.
I didn't like the art, especially the Daredevil story.
Yeah,
it was like 7 artists on that book. It was too much, but did not exactly get me excited for the big event. Super Mastermind, IP buyers always touting how IP is worthless. John Wick sold for $25,000. Now we see $100 billion being touted as fair for IP. This will cause issues.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. This is a good point. You could make the
Are we-
same thing for the K-pop Demon Hunter. Same thing. Bought for
I don't
a
think
song.
we're seeing like IP acquired for 100 billion, but we certainly have seen IP creators acquired for that. Isn't that how much Taylor Sheridan's deal is for?
Is that how much? No,
Maybe not 100 billion.
No, I think it was
more.
about 100 million.
100 million. Yeah, he still hangs around the
Yeah.
hotel here in DFW. I've run in. I mean, we see him all the time because we're doing Landman here. And I mean, if he was 100 billion, he wouldn't be in Texas.
100 billion, but that's an enormous amount just because he's able to create that much IP that people like.
Sure.
Google
Sure,
says
you'll
it's
see.
potentially a $1 billion
There
deal
we go.
with
I knew there was
NBC
a billion in there.
Universal
There
to
you go.
create
It's a
movies in
10-year deal.
26 up until 2029.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are seeing you're seeing some IP getting, I mean, just the characters itself. What you saw with the Demon Hunters thing, because everybody's desperate to get to that kid tween kind of zone of how do you get content that they really love. So anyone who's ever able to make any kind of movement there, so you're going to see crazy numbers being put up on the board.
So the thing that Neon said last week, he says that there's a land grab for all these IPs, whether they're worth anything now or anything. You know, obviously, if they're more popular now, they're worth more. But just to grab them, that way when AI blows up and you can create your own fanfic story, they have the most recognizable characters that you can work with.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. There's more to it than that, too. I mean, you saw a little bit in this Disney deal. Sorry, we're getting right into business. You got Disney making deals with OpenAI to actually license some of their imagery. You're going to see some of that going on. So two things that I think to watch. Consolidation, which we were talking about with Netflix buying Warner, and you're seeing these groups come together. Then how they play with tech is you're going to see them start to make these licensing deals to really get their IP there. This is how they're going to try and grab it. They've come to the conclusion correctly that they can't sue the AI groups to protect their content. So now's the time to make money. So the goal is get as much content as possible in your arsenal as the industries consolidate, license it to get that second revenue stream so you have a piece of it. The fear of a lot of these groups is that AI gets strong enough that people like watching this right now, or all of us, are start making our own movies, sharing them on social media, and the social media tech groups get to be powerful as opposed to the media companies, because you all are now the creators. So this is how they keep their finger in all that. That's what we will see play out over the 10 years. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
But that's why the overvaluation on not even established IP, but just IP.
For sure. Yeah. And that's, you'll see a lot of that. And you're going to see some really dumb things get pushed. We're going to get like the Poochie effect from Simpsons happening over the next couple of years.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots, the movie with Vin Diesel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the K-pop Demon Hunters is an interesting case study because you saw something very cheap get bought, blow up. You're now going to see a bunch of media industry groups going, anything that smells even a little bit like that starts to get a little bit of attention, go big. And so you will see overexposure of this stuff. Huge. And it's going to be annoying. Some of this stuff is going to feel very artificial, but that's what's coming.
Dude, Perch, we should have been working behind the scenes and creating a bunch of this crap for the last year.
Yeah.
Didn't even have to be good.
Well, I'm putting out my
We
comic.
should have bought fucking John Wick for $25,000. I would have gone halvesies with you.
There you go.
Jadred 2. Have any of you played Dispatch, the adventure game? I'm curious, how do you guys feel about it as a superhero story? I have played it through it 3 times. I have not.
What about the real comic book gamer? What did you play this?
Nope. No,
Okay.
this is this is that Telltale's type game. So
Is
I
it
don't really
because
care
it's
for
not a
those games.
PC game?
No, it is a PC game. It's on PC. It's one of those Telltale games where you just it's a bunch of dialogue basically, and you watch it play out.
It's like an RPG, like we were talking about with Star Wars.
Not like that, but kind of. It's
Choose your own adventure.
yeah,
Yeah.
choose your own adventure, but is exactly what it is. Telltale used to make a bunch of different games. They even did a Batman one, and now they're doing this Dispatch game. But yeah, you just choose your own adventure, and it goes off. You have different relationships with characters and all that. And I just
So if
never
you
really
played
cared
it
for
3
that style of
times, you
game.
had 3 different unique stories.
Yeah, you could do different scenarios and different decisions and everything.
Okay. Well, sounds interesting. I haven't played it. Did you play it, Perch?
I have not, but I definitely know of it. I think my older daughter is playing it for sure, and I don't get to play games anymore. Like literally, I have no time to do it. A lot of
What
great
was
things out
her report? Did she like it?
there. She says she likes everything. The way you tell is if she keeps playing and doesn't want to emerge ever from her room, and that's what we're in right now. So she's liking
good.
it.
Very nice.
Yeah. No, it's a good review. I think we're hearing her in the background. I don't know what's going on in the rest of the house, but she is apparently my children are having some kind of rave.
Wasn't sure if that was the kids or if you were getting called for a flight.
No. That's depressing. No, that's the kids in the background. Sorry about that.
Dude, how's the dog doing? I miss it.
Alive. Yeah, no, he's good. He misses you.
Luffy's great. He loves playing fetch.
Yeah, he does. Forever.
Caleb says, do you think people in all media are deliberately trying to make all apathetic to everything since everyone is equal in apathy? Same with depopulating?
Damn. I like
It's
my
very
coffee
dark.
black, not my pills.
Yeah. No, they like money.
Yeah, I mean, you need people to have, to make money. So,
Yeah.
No, you don't. The money
No.
already exists.
No,
They just
sorry.
need to kill the people to take it.
No, they just want the money. They're not trying to. They're trying to take the money. They're not trying to necessarily make money. They're
Yes.
trying to take the money. So they definitely want the money. That's the key. I think but people they want safe bets. I mean, it's a tough world in a sense of they just want the money very easily. They don't really want to take a lot of risk to get it, and that's why we see a lot of regurgitated stuff, because it's you find something that works a little bit and then you do it 8,000 times until it's thoroughly dead and you find the next thing.
Feels like Zootopia 2 sending the wrong message.
Feels like Marvel relaunches.
Well, I haven't seen it. Did anybody see Zootopia 2? My daughters wanted to see Wicked 2. I made the mistake of going to that.
Was it good?
It was fine. It kind of just retread the. I thought you were talking about Zootopia 2. It was retreading stuff from the first one, basically. It was fine.
But Wicked 2 was not fine.
That's singing. I mean, I'm not a musical guy, so that's not going to work for me. So I'm sure it was great.
Did Grandpa go to see Zootopia or Wicked? What did grandkids make you go see?
I mean, they're too little. We're watching Sesame Street and Blue's Clues, or I don't know what they're watching, to be honest. But
have you gotten to Loco Nuts yet?
No.
I suggested it's a good one.
Really? What's it called?
Yes. Loco Nuts.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. Loco Nuts. Yeah, they're pretty little.
That one.
We're not in movie yet, but I could see it coming.
I think this weekend, because my wife and kids are actually out because there's a birthday party they needed to go to. When they come back tomorrow, I think we're going to watch Gremlins for the first time and see if the 4-year-old can take it.
Yeah.
Oh, good deal.
I think he should be good for Gremlins, right?
It is a Christmas movie. It is Christmas time. Go for it. Yeah.
Exactly.
The only downside to Gremlins, I will give you this warning, is because I did this with my kids as well, and the horror is kind of cheesy horror. It's adventures, but there is a scene where they go deep into talking about how Santa Claus is not real, and if that hasn't been something you've popped with your kids yet, don't let them find out in Gremlins.
Well, every Christmas movie is about how Santa's not real. I've noticed that.
Yeah, but this one's very explicit, so more than I remembered. And my older daughter was already there. My younger daughter was a little bit like, "What are they talking about?" And I'm like, "No, don't worry about that. We're going to watch the horse dying scene from Never Ending Story to wash that out of your brain."
Never Ending Story is great. So we're going to try on Gremlins this weekend. Argo vs. Comics. Hope everyone is in for a good Christmas. You too.
Yeah,
man,
absolutely.
Is everybody ready for Christmas? I got everything wrapped.
Dude, I got my Santa covers on my spinner rack.
Beautiful.
It's decorated with Christmas lights. We got the Christmas toques going on. I feel in the holiday spirit here.
Did you get to read the Lobo Paramilitary Christmas special?
Yeah, there was so much gun violence in it. I was afraid of what I could show with the new YouTube algorithms and stuff. Like, I don't want to get busted for like showing gun violence on my show. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to show this page. But that Simon Vicely art, it was so good, man. Yeah,
it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. It's fun. Comics should be fun.
Perch, are you ready for Christmas?
No, I haven't started yet.
No way.
You
pretty much be that guy.
I'm always that guy. Yeah.
How many trees do you guys have?
2.
Yeah. Everybody in America's got multiple trees now. My brother's got 3. But
I
we
don't know
should have
why.
a good time. That's
Well,
that's a wife thing. No,
Well,
no
no,
dude's house has 2 trees.
That's the daughters don't want to team up to decorate a tree, so that's why we have to.
Mm.
Oh, they get their own tree each.
Yeah, and then I do
Do
nothing.
you do a
so-
contest like whoever wins gets $200?
I do. I say whichever one does a better job, they're the ones that get the good gifts and the love.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'll
And the other
do.
gets nothing.
Second place gets an Arby gift certificate.
That's right. Second place,
Dad.
Arby's for dinner.
I'm taking you to Arby's for beef and cheddar and curlies
No, Dad, no.
participation trophy. Teach them it's bad, I guess.
That's
Then
right.
it says Snyder jock for a Batman Dread reunion.
Sure.
That could be
It's been a
fun.
while.
That would be fun.
Jock's a
Yeah.
great artist. We don't get to see him enough. That'd be fun. You know, I definitely want to get your thoughts on this one, Perch. We got this Dread movie, and it's going to be Taika Waititi, who has gotten a bit of a bad rap after the Thor stuff and what he was threatening to do with Star Wars. Am I wrong for thinking Taika Waititi might be perfect for Dread, considering that's a satirical comic book?
Yeah, I mean, look, he can do good movies, despite what YouTube says. He can do good films. I think he needs a little bit of editing. He needs some restraint and just the right property. I think Judge Dredd is sarcastic. There is satire there, so there's a world where that either works or he goes an extra 10%, and then it's really, really annoying. So I mean, I think these things you want to match somebody who can really get sarcasm with something that fits there, but it can.
The Carl Urban Dread movie, which I think is excellent, is nothing like the comic book.
No, that's just an action film, and it's a good one. It's fun, but it's not. It's just an action film.
It takes Judge Dredd very, very seriously, and the world around him very seriously. Whereas the comic books, it's a parody of whatever's going on in the world at that time.
It is. It's really. I think a lot of people in comics today, a lot of movie viewers, they view Dredd as an action film that they didn't really read a lot of the comics. So I think a lot of people miss that Dredd really is it's got more comedy, more sarcasm, more parody in there. And I think very few people remember that part. So I think it's what do you want? Do you want a good action film? Do you want a John Wick style action film? Do you want a comic accurate film? And I think Waititi could work quite well for the first.
In fairness, if we're looking at true to the source material, honestly, the Stallone movie was more true to the source material, but it's a much worse movie. And honestly, you don't. Here's the thing: I don't think Dredd works if you do it where it's true to the source material. I don't think it works as a movie.
You don't think he should show up in a town and Burger King and McDonald's are going to war?
No,
I love it.
It's I know. Here's the thing: it's going to scream the terrible Tim Story Fantastic Four movies at the audience, and that's what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like all of the, oh look, we actually hate the thing that we're selling you, and we think it's stupid, regardless of whether or not that's actually true to the comic. That's what it's going to tell the audience.
Yeah, could be interesting.
Look, I think when you're doing something that's parody or satire, kind of like Starship Troopers, it's first of all, it's a lot harder, I think, to get that right. It's just as a film, that takes a really clever creator to nail it, because it's too easy to get into. Yeah, it's very difficult to do it, and it takes a very fine pen and steady hand to do it. So I think if I'm Hollywood, I mean, I'd take the safer route. The Carl Urban route is a better route. It's a much safer to land that message than the other one. The other one's a lot more risky. So we'll see.
Mr. DC Comics comic book battles. Aquaman versus Hawkman was incredible. Jeremy Adams' Aquaman run is really good. Favorite version of Aquaman. Wonder Woman versus Lobo was great too.
Cool.
I agree with half of that sentiment. I did not enjoy Wonder Woman versus Lobo as much.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes into what we were just talking about. Aquaman takes the Aquaman Hawkman battle very, very serious, and the premise of DC KO exceptionally serious, that the stakes are through the roof, that the universe is on the line. Wonder Woman versus Lobo treats it like a parody and does not take any of it seriously and drives into the X of Swords of everything, to where they're having arm wrestling contests and they're playing chess and stuff like that.
Who's gonna fuck a rock before this is over?
That was, yeah, exactly.
That's my question. at this rate, at the way that DC's treating it, who fucks a rock? I don't know.
Well,
no, you know what?
DC isn't going to
be...
make the mistake of doing silly contests. I think they saw how that went down, but I do agree with you. I think you're dead right. This couldn't have been a better lead-in.
Who wrote it?
Joelle Jones was Wonder Woman, and then Jeremy Adams was Aquaman.
Yeah. Okay.
What were you saying?
There you go. No, just I think this is what's key about these kinds of things is everybody's got to be on the same page. Is this a deathly serious, we're going to take it serious, or is it we're going to have some fun with it? And I think when you mix those styles up, it's not great. I was with you. The Wonder Woman felt like it was a joke. It felt more like a video game, and frankly, the Superman Captain Atom one did as well to some extent. It was better
by
than
the end, the third round.
Yeah, it still felt like a little bit of a video game thing. The Hawkman was drag out. That was a fight, like with what the conceit of the issue is supposed to be. So I think that one, he understood the assignment better, it felt like.
And it's not the first time. Like when he did that Night Terrors, he's the only one that said anything interesting about the character. Like when he did the Green Lanterns, like Green Lantern's not scared of nothing. Try to make him scared and see what happens. You know, even in the absolute power stuff, he was captured and trying to free himself. Jeremy Adams seems to be like a net positive to events, is what I'm saying.
I think he like I said, he understands the assignment. I think when he gets into it, it's like, what are we doing? We're doing this, and he goes with it. And I think, if I'm doing this, and this probably would be a bad idea, because the idea is that you want fans to probably get lots of different takes on the fight. I mean, I would say let's everybody have the same style, so I would get criticized for everything feeling the same. But I would, with the stakes as high as they are, and we've complained about this before. I think I've argued with Dylan about this before, or maybe we've agreed. I don't remember. But it's that, if you're going to raise massive stakes, if you're going to say the universe is ending, then damn it, the comic book should feel like everything is ending, and everybody should be pretty much on game and on point and serious. And I think if you start to joke around in the middle of that, it kind of blows the event for me. But
What'd you think about it, Tommy? I know you read both of them. Which take did you like, or did you like them both existing in the same event?
No, I kind of agree with what Perch said. Just because the stakes are so high, I think all of these battles should be taken a little bit more seriously. That way, especially when we get to issue 5 of DCKO, right, it's going to feel really important to make sure that you have that title. When I get into, like, I'm going to get Aquaman anyway because it's Jeremy Adams. I picked up Wonder Woman and Lobo because I've actually enjoyed DCKO so far. And then when you read a title like this, it makes me think that these in-between storylines and battles that are taking place are not that important. And I don't think that's good for what you're trying to do when you're doing a big event like this.
Yeah, you might want to page through it next time. Is this one going to take it seriously?
Yeah.
Or, I get exactly what you're saying. Caleb says, are any of you going to waste your time watching a Tom King adaptation? Eric will. It's just Guardians of, again, Gunn can only tell one story like Tom King. Man, Sully, shots fired.
Me? What did I do?
Is
this because I like The Flash? I got a lot of heat for that, but guess what? I got an asbestos T-shirt for that kind of occasion.
I'll probably see Supergirl eventually, when it goes on streaming or something. But I've got no plans to take my family 4 hours away and go to the movies.
Still haven't seen Superman, so it's like I'll get to it when I get to it. I saw the trailer just before the show because it's part of the show, and I had no problems with that trailer, except with the exception of the actress's vocal fry. I mean, like that warbly junkie voice, that Kardashian thing. I mean, you lost me there. But I mean, even with the dog peeing on the newspaper, it's followed by her waking up and saying, at least you got it mostly on the newspaper this time, like kind of a good boy moment. Like, so that was the punchline that was set up in punchline there. So I'm like, that took for me, the sting out of the outrage about, oh no, he's
I don't think it was outrage. I think it was done on purpose to let you know that,
for sure.
Superman.
Yeah, and she was on it too. She was on the cover. It says Supergirl saves cat, and he's getting the pee on that part of the front page too. And so there's that there. I mean, so I thought it was funny, but I had no problems with the baby in the microwave in the Flash movie either. So,
Nobody was seriously outraged at the dog peeing on Superman, were they? I mean, I did not watch.
I wasn't outraged. I was like, oh, that just kind of tells them what they're doing.
Other people on Twitter, I've seen some mutuals, and just being like, wow, look at this, like Superman, getting pissed on.
It couldn't be a more transparent, cheap, easy way to say, like, I'm a bad girl, he's the good with the Boy Scout, and I'm kind of a rebel, and my dog's peeing on his picture. It's like it's shorthand for putting her character in 10 seconds or less on the screen. But I mean, are there really people out there with YouTube videos with like, outrage, dog pees on Superman, America destroyed? Like, I hope.
Dude, I should make that video first. It's got potential now you mentioned it.
And an AI thumbnail with a dog with Crypto lifting his leg. You know what I mean?
I need to make the Dark Perch channel where I just let AI completely just do the absolute most pissed off takes on every possible insignificant thing and just run those videos. But I good God.
Fun. Earth 3.
So you'll probably see Supergirl. I imagine Dylan's going to go see Supergirl in theater, and probably Tommy, right?
Yeah, I see every comic book movie in the theater, whether they're going to be good or not. There's going to be a day when they're not there, man. If they keep making bad ones, I enjoy going to see them. I don't enjoy every movie, but my girls, I have 3 girls. They don't read comic books. My son's not involved at all in comics. This is the only thing comic related I could do with my girls, and so we enjoy them. All 3 of them really loved the MCU when it was hot. So we go see them all. And, they have a different perspective because they have no background in comic books. So I don't want to ruin that for them. So I go and I enjoy it with them. Obviously, I have my problems because I read the comic books. I'm like, it's not good, man.
Get nervous.
Yeah, but I enjoy it with them. So it's more of being with them. But this one didn't bother me at all, the trailer. I'm kind of excited for it. I really want to see Lobo. So
it just, every scene looked like it was a scene out of Guardians of the Galaxy. When I say that, I mean aesthetically speaking, every set that they had looks like they borrowed it from the MCU.
Yeah. It's going to be team up. I mean, that's what Gunn does, right? Yeah. So we know that's going to happen. But
who's the director for this one again? It's
the guy that directed Cruella de Vil. That one,
Gillespie.
Yeah,
Craig Gillespie, maybe.
I think you're right. I think that's it.
Out of curiosity for movies, because I was going back and forth with somebody on this, how many? I was surprised by this number, but I always go to the same theater that's nearby, and it's my kids like it and everything. So, how many movies did you guys actually watch in the theaters this year? By the way, this isn't a shot, anybody. I'm just
2.
I was shocked. 2.
0.
2.
53.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna beat me. 3.
3.
I was shocked. I was guessing it was somewhere around like 12 to 15. It was 21 in the theater. And then I travel all the time, so I usually watch 2 or 3 movies on a plane because I don't sleep, so I have to do something. And I had to have watched like 300 films this year. I'm actually quite. I need to go get some whiskey now. I feel quite shocked.
Oh no, I've probably watched 300 to 400 movies this year. I have watched 0 in a theater.
Yeah.
In fact, the last time I went out of my house to see a movie was I saw Super Mario Brothers at the drive-in.
Yeah. Doc's what's
and when did that come out?
Theater. 3 years ago.
What was that? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Oh, I thought you meant the Leguizamo.
No,
wait, which one was it?
That's a misunderstood masterpiece, by the way.
He did say it was at the drive-in, but nobody went out of their way to go see that Super Mario movie. The original one.
I'm now thinking though that in fairness, I was in my head was with the cartoon, but now I think there's a decent shot, Doc. You were talking about the John Leguizamo.
No. I am talking about the cartoon.
Then he says, in Guns, Brainiac will be an incel or a Trump allegory with screaming close-up, stupid makeup. One of his cities will be this goofy furry world.
Could be.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I could definitely see a goofy furry world.
That would be awful.
A goofy furry world. Yeah. I mean, you gotta play to the Ruby fan some way, I guess.
Yeah, but at this point, if you have a character and he is powerful and he's not nice, he's like, oh, that's a Trump allegory. It kind of feels that way, whether it's true or not. Caleb says, come on, Perch. Tika will make it like Sesame Street with goofy baby humor. or Taika will make it like Sesame Street with goofy baby humor. Dredd will probably wear a skirt. It's that predictable.
No, he's not going to wear a skirt. They're not going to let that film go out.
You put him in a fat suit?
No. They'll be the danger here will be it needs to be a little bit of a parody and a little bit of satire, and it will just be all parody and satire and one-liners. That's the danger. They're not going to have him running around in a skirt
without the over-the-top awesome action and violence that it needs.
I mean, if they make it like Sesame Street, it might. I don't know. Then maybe they get that kid's audience. I don't know. What would actually? I'm fascinated. What would a Judge Dredd Sesame Street thing look like? That would be.
Oh, dude, I got it, man. Mr. Hooper goes evil, and Bert and Ernie have to put on the judges' outfits and go back. Judge Ernie, Judge Bert.
Cookie Monster keeps stealing cookies, so he has to put some cold hard lead into
the
him.
law.
I mean, it would look like it would.
Callum, you're criticizing this, but hang on a tick. That sounded pretty. I would go see that film.
Disgruntled postal worker.
Yeah, I mean, just finally giving the Cookie Monster. Yeah, just enough of your shit, pal. We've had enough of your crap.
Did you steal the judge's cookies?
Yeah.
I would actually use Grover as Judge Dredd himself.
Yeah, I'm up for it. Let's make that movie. Okay,
great.
We'll be able to do it with AI, with as long as the one company that works with them has all the characters licensed.
Yeah,
we gotta have Judge Dredd and Sesame Street characters under one roof.
No, you won't. They just get to keep the product.
This is what AI is for. I mean, in fairness, you don't want a Hollywood studio doing this idea because it is stupid. But this is where fan AI stuff would be hilarious. This is what I would watch.
Marvel 2099, aka Future Flare. A good Christmas film that came out fairly recently was Violent Night. Not one for the kids, but watching Santa fight with the sledgehammer was great action.
Yeah, Violent Night was good. We're getting a sequel next year, I believe, next Christmas.
That is a good film.
Is it? Because I saw Doc has Fat Man or something like that. It kind of looks like Violent Night, maybe.
It was the Mel Gibson one.
No, this is Violent Night. Yeah.
That was awesome, man. I love that.
Which is better, Fat Man or Violent Night?
I've not seen Fat Man.
Oh. Okay. Is it better than Bad Santa?
No.
It's much different than Bad Santa because it's an action. It's kind of like a Die Hard with Santa, basically.
Is it better than Code Red or whatever, that rock movie where they're saving?
I did not
Santa?
see that movie, but that movie looked terrible.
That movie is terrible.
Was it? It kind of looked all right to me.
No, that movie's awful.
But we're going to give Gremlins a shot. If it works, maybe we'll put in Violent Night onto the rotation, see if we can really freak out the 4-year-old.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, that would do that job. That would
Code Red. The Arby's of Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Callum, Doc, the creator of that High Republic character who's a rock, probably bangs rocks.
Ooh.
Distinctly possible.
What was the name of that character? You're the Star Wars guy, Dylan. Geode, yes.
Yeah. Geode,
probably the one.
The navigator. That he got dropped like a hot rock. I mean, seriously, that came and went. That didn't test well at all. And Ram Jamaran, what happened to that first wave of High Republic? They kept 3 characters.
You're the only person I know
try to
that
sell a rock action figure.
Oh man, that'd be funny.
I believe they did.
Yeah,
I believe they did. It was like just a fucking
Was
rock.
it a Kenner? Was it in a vintage blister pack?
I think it was.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe this.
Yes, I believe there was.
Star Wars action figure. There's no way.
Is there a Ram Jamaran action figure? I just hear Jeff Hicks in my head. Jamaram. Good times, man. Good
I
times.
see people. There's no official Geode character, but I do see lots of pictures of people with their Star Wars character with a rock saying it's Geode. That's what's out there. You got had, sir. You are not going to be very good at spotting AI slop.
I don't fucking.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Sully. He's the one that thought it was real. Mr. Scottsy, thoughts on Marvel possibly setting up Mary Jane and Flash? That, and considering Tom King is writing her in the crossover, is there any hope for Mary Jane Watson going forward? Thanks for all you guys do. Merry Christmas.
Wow. That sounds like a good idea.
I'm assuming that's not Flash from DC. It's Flash Thompson, like Anti-Venom?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is what's going on in the Al Ewing book. They're kind of
Yeah, the
hinting
Venom
that
book.
go out on a date, and this is. I mean, they're just going to have Mary Jane kind of be the revolving door of Marvel for a little while with a bunch of men.
great.
He's going to be the town bicycle.
Paul's rebound
Yeah.
is going to be Flash Thompson.
Yeah,
Paul's rebound?
Well, Mary Jane's Paul rebound.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she's on the
Like,
rebound, dude.
Flash is going to be like deciding between MJ and Paul.
I mean,
This is
What is?
this is further evidence of Nick Lowe's banging somebody else fetish. And Pete's going to be in the cuck chair for a different.
sure, but what if MJ and Flash actually like each other, and then you had the dynamic of Venom and anti-Venom, so they literally can't touch or for very long. So I mean, come on, that's like it's like right in front of us. That'd be great. Flesh that out.
Yeah, that's a solid book.
So Flash has to become a 2-pump Trump in order to have fun with Mary Jane. Okay.
So did you see the
Flash,
creative teams
hey.
on the Superman Spider-Man book, Perch?
I did not. Tell me more.
So it's Mark Waid and Jorge Jimenez on the main book, but one of the backup stories is Tom King with Jim Lee on art, and it's a Mary Jane Lois Lane story. And I was like, why would they put Tom King on that book? And then how does Jim Lee have the time for it?
I mean, it's going to be like 2 or 3 pages long. It won't be a long story. And I don't know. Jim Lee wanted to draw tits. I don't know.
Yeah, but Tom King's just he's gonna, one of them's gonna hate, or Mary Jane will hate Peter, and then Lois will have Superman doing some embarrassing stuff. Like,
look, I can make a lot of jokes here. The reality, it's going to be like 2 or 3 pages, and it's going to be like, oh, my guy is saving the world and doesn't have time for me. Mine too. Ah, geez, let's get coffee, and then that's the story.
And
do we need Jim Lee art on that?
That's why Hush is
again. I think he likes to draw tits.
Could we not get like Babs? What's her name on that? That seems like a book for her. Babs Tar, is that it?
Sure, I would lean the other direction. I mean, get like, this is where you want your Frank Cho or your,
get Nick Klein on there.
You're going to lean in, lean all the way.
You're going sexy, yeah.
I mean, why not?
Put Todd McFarlane on it, really amp it up.
Sure.
But you're enjoying the Al Ewing Venom book?
Me, no.
Oh. Because I was enjoying it as my guilty pleasure until she broke up with Paul and Dylan wasn't emasculating him every issue. I kind of walk away.
I don't know. There's a lot of books. It's like we started this thing, but there's a lot of really great books. That one didn't take for me. But Al Ewing doesn't.
That is not one of them.
I think this is where I'm off with a couple, like the masses of comic readers. Al Ewing, for whatever reason, his books never land with me. Very similar to Dennis Camp. I think those two, there's a lot of people who really find them brilliant and like their books, and for whatever reason, that writing just does not hit. I
liked Immortal Hulk for 23 issues.
I that was the best thing. It still wasn't. I will tell you, the Infernal Hulk right now I think is far better. I just did something about the writing. It's fine. I will take Tom King over an Al Ewing, which I'm sure is in disagreement with 99% of the people on this show right now.
It's an interesting thing that you put out there. Sully thinks that Alex Packnadel is the next big thing in comics.
I like his X-Men writing, him and Seeley. I mean, hopefully they get past the torch. Like, give it up, Eve Ewing. Give it up, Gail Simone. Sorry, those are just terrible X-Men books. I mean, at least Packnadel, like, it feels like an old X-Men book, and that's the lived-in universe and fulfilling expectations from like the world and the characters. I liked Sentinels, and I'm looking forward to his Cyclops book. And those one-shots he did, too. Those two were pretty good, in my humble opinion. Yeah.
I think you should be forced to read every other Alex Packnadel book, and then you can realize how wrong you are.
I have
Not that he's a bad guy or he's terrible, but...
Ben Percy's very, like, hit or miss as well. But I think overall, Ben Percy, does the yeoman's work. I've been actually... I liked Red Hulk. I overall liked Helverine, and just Ben Percy ended up being like, oh, he's actually not that bad. He's doing
That's how bad Marvel is, and he feels good. You're settling is what you're doing. Do you feel? I think that's what's happening in a lot of comic books, Perch. Are a lot of people settling on Marvel?
Settling. I mean, I think Marvel's catching people by going, hey, I like this era of Spider-Man, so here's a 3-issue series where I'm kind of somewhat in that era, and I can kind of remember that. But they're not, from other retailers I talk to, other groups, they're not getting new people in the door much. It's they're getting them in with little things, like people come in wanting Godzilla, so they'll get some people in with that, or Aliens, but they're not really getting new people. They're playing more to nostalgia sales. In theory, the people on this channel, people like us, should be like, wow, we're loving all these miniseries they're putting out. This is just hitting all the eras we love the most. And unfortunately, I think that audience also wants those things to have meaning. So it's like you got the first one, you're telling stories from that time period, but there's no continuity or meaning to any of it. And so that's where I think they're in this uncomfortable gap where they're not really getting new people. They're not really capturing their existing audience. And so they're floundering a little bit. And that's where when I look at what Marvel puts out, the publishing just looks nuts to me of how they're putting out books and how they're promoting stuff. It's just, I don't understand.
You had an example. Let's put it up here.
Yeah. This is an interesting example. This is this week. This is everything Marvel put out. And you're going to be drawn, like a lot of us, to the idea of, hey, look, a lot of these titles are, they don't have long runs. And that's definitely true. I think that is a problem. If you take out the 3 Ultimate books, the average run length of this entire group of books is 4 issues, which is kind of crazy. Almost 2/3 of this entire group are limited series. And like we've talked about before, even the things that aren't limited series get rebooted all the time. So stuff like New Avengers is in theory an ongoing, but does anyone think that's going to make it to issue 20? Probably not.
No.
But the biggest takeaway I have on all this is and this has nothing to do with content, writers, woke, any of that kind of stuff. It's just publishing strategy. You didn't have a Punisher book for a couple of years, really, well, at least not a Frank Castle book, because you were worried you're playing to the incels and the hate people, whatever. But so now you're putting out Punisher again, and you decide to put 2 books that are not connected in the same week, in a month. Like, why in the hell would you do that? It's the dumbest approach to play to that audience. And it's so confusing. I know that if you read both these books, you know that one's one story, one's the other story, fine. But you put both these out, if you're a retailer and you're trying to, like, somebody comes in, they want the Punisher, where the hell are you supposed to go with this? Mm-hmm. It's just bizarre. Why would you publish this way? It's stupid. Next week, there are no Ultimate books out. Why would you stuff 3 of them in 1 week? This is just dumb.
I mean, look at it.
Including the 2 best-selling ones. Spider-Man and Wolverine are the only ones that are selling really well. You kind of want to separate them to get people in the store that week.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And you do have somebody in the chat said next week, your top book is McKay's Avengers. That's issue number 33. Mm-hmm. You have Thor at issue 5. It's just the point I'm trying to make here is that if you're a retailer, think about yourself like you're a store owner and people coming into your store and you're trying to sell them books. And so you're trying to kind of manage your line and get people to buy things. This is a pain in the ass, what you see here, to try and promote to people. You've got a bunch of X-Men books, 5 of them, all of which are limited series in this event. 3 of them, the Iron and Frost, Long Shot, Center Sticks, all ending this week. I think Unbreakable X-Men did too, as I recall. What are you supposed to do with this? How do you pitch this? It's just a pain in the ass to get people attached to any of this. And you want to space out your books. You want to give people lots of different things to read. This is just dumb publishing strategy. The people who are doing the publishing strategy need to be fired. This is awful.
I agree. I mean, look at all the Spider-Man books this week. We had Spider-Man, Wolverine, we got ASM, we've got Ultimate Spider-Man, and even throw in Spider-Gwen too, because she's Spider Family. I mean, that's 4 Spider books 1 week. I mean, why aren't those staggered on different weeks? I mean, I thought that was the point.
Well, Spider-Man comes out every 2 weeks, so it's hard to stagger that one.
Is that a CB thing, though, you think, Perch? I mean, he's been in the helm for a while. This seems like something very elementary for an editor to understand.
It is. I mean, the buck stops there. I mean, it's a failure of a lot of people, but he's in charge. He has that seat. So this is where you should look at what's coming out every month. And I understand it's a pain in the ass because things get late and everything else, but still make an attempt. It would be on the DC line. This is one of the smaller things that they're doing much better that goes unrecognized is you do not have all the KO books come out in 1 week and then nothing for 3 weeks. And Marvel does that all the time. And
they space out absolute Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman because those are the 3 best sellers, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
They don't stack them.
It's just dumb. And I know it's not flashy. You can't make, I mean, I defy anyone, one of you can figure it out. Give me the AI thumbnail title that says like, that has a googly eyes, tears, they hate you, they're publishing stupid. I don't know. Just somebody can come up with a good flashy YouTube title for this. But it's a boring thing, but this is one of the biggest ways you shoot yourself in the foot is exactly what you just saw. And like you said, with the absolute line, they don't, there's no world where they put out Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman in the same week because they know that would be idiotic.
Callum says the Sesame Street thing is what I felt when he did Love and Thunder.
He did have Thor in a skirt in that movie. No, I'm sorry.
Rough movie.
Zeus was the worst part.
I still haven't seen it. I skipped it, and I like Ragnarok.
Yeah. Well, you might like that movie. It's more of Ragnarok, basically. But I love Russell Crowe, and I was very disappointed in that one. But yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder is a terrible film. That is the worst case scenario with anything Taika Waititi. Yep. That he gets too much control and ends up being a bunch of stupid bull crap that he just throws out in the film. Did you like it, Dylan? You're the big movie critic. Did you like Love and Thunder?
No, it was terrible. The movie sucked.
I wasn't the worst MCU movie ever.
Man, Black Panther 2 was really, really bad. Love and Thunder's up there. I don't know which one's worse. Black Panther 2
I thought Quantumania was the worst.
Quantumania was bad, but I think Black Panther 2 might be the worst one for me. That one, Wakanda Forever, is terrible.
I did not like that movie because every time they established that he's gone and they celebrated it, and you try to move on, they would just pull you right back and then just play that over and over again.
There wasn't a whole lot interesting going on in that movie.
Yeah, other than Angela Bassett. She was great.
Yeah.
Federico de la Casa. MJ and Lois Lane will end up at a male strip show.
Yeah, that's a solid. That's
Tom King did that with the bachelorette party, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
For Catwoman?
That sounds right. Yeah.
With Amanda Connors on art, I believe. So you might be a lot closer to the truth than you realize. And then Callum says, I asked Babs Tarr for advice about how to build an audience. She blocked me in the ignorant cow.
Oh, jeez. Maybe she saw you were adjacent to somebody on Twitter. Like, oh, boy.
She probably saw that you followed me on social media and was like,
yeah,
screw that guy. But that's not how you build an audience. Just saying, Perch.
Yeah, actually, that's funny. That's it. In a way, she did give you some good advice on what not to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's not cool. But
she's like, let's see if he gets the irony. Block.
That's right. Tough love. Yeah. No, that's shitty. But look, you still have this could go down a very long path, so I won't, but I think you still have in 2026 or 2025, I guess, get ahead of myself, creators who will look at who's following who and then send little advice notes to people. I don't check Twitter ever, so I went back on my account for the first time in like what had to be 2 months, and there's all these emails, all these direct messages in there, and I had a bunch of like helpful notes about people who I was following or following me. Or do you realize that person's a literal Hitler? It's
night
like,
letter.
It feels so quaint. In 2026 2016 we're all wound up about this. In 2025 it just feels like, oh, that's sweet. It's like MySpace. It's like, oh, you're friends with Tom too. That's cute. It just does the teeth is all out of that. And when I see stuff like this, it reminds me of, there's still some people who are doing that. It just, well, you literally have nothing better to do with your life, but okay.
HH, the team at Sigma Comics, shout out to the Thinking Critical team from Otaku Fest, Miami. Support indies and these great guys who keep you informed about great comics in the biz. Hit like and subscribe.
HH.
Cool. Enjoy the wonderful weather in Miami. I wouldn't want to be in New York now either. It's probably getting pretty cold.
Oh, yeah. It's wicked.
It's down to like 84 degrees here in the Philippines.
My daughter loved your book, man. He's a good guy.
Oh, cool.
Very, very cool. Yeah, definitely enjoy the weather, and happy or Merry Christmas to you and your family. I hope you guys are selling out of all your books there. Really appreciate the support, brother. Jagger 2, speaking of Gotham City Sirens, Tini Howard series will be. I watched Wes's video on that. I thought we were done with Tini Howard at DC Comics.
No, Tini puts in scripts reliably. I mean,
I think we should have a higher standard than that.
I know, I'm with you. I'm with you. I like how I made several comments here that just roll out to dead silence. That's
yeah, you're killing the atmosphere here, Perch. What are you bringing everybody down?
Oh my goodness!
I'll be more. I'll do more things. Yeah.
Should I make Doc review Gotham City Sirens?
Yes.
OG.
Yes. Why not?
We could do the whole series on that one because it comes out 4 issues over an entire year. Because it's one issue for every season.
What you need to do, I would love you to do this with Doc, is review an issue, but he can't read it ahead of time. So you're going to screen share, right? So you're going to put the page up. You're going to give him a second to read it. Then you're going to get the immediate reactions. And then this is more editing work for you, so it's not a good idea. But
yeah, that's like a trailer reaction.
Yeah, I think that'd be good because then you're getting the immediate gut reaction to some of this stuff, and I think that would be hysterical.
DFAP, Doc EFAPing, you know, like every frame of pause, every panel of pause. DFAP
sounds awful.
Doc FAP, that doesn't sound good in hindsight. No, workshop
on,
that.
Man. Let's see it.
So we are here to talk about a little bit about the DC Absolute Universe and the absolute dominance that it's on. We talked about a little bit here this week, Perch, but we got the Joker's monster debut this week. It's mostly what people are talking about. I wasn't completely impressed by it. In fact, I thought it was kind of mid for the most part. But I am in the distinct minority, Tommy. People seem to really love this one. We saw that I think the orders reached 300,000. It feels like another big success. And once again, another example of DC just dominating all of comic books with the absolute stuff, specifically Batman.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I think as they have first appearances of a lot of these characters that people have been waiting for, you're going to see that. Eventually, you're going to run out of characters to do that, and I think you'll see a little bit of a slowdown. But you know, the art is amazing. The story's been a lot of fun. I've actually really enjoyed Absolute Batman, so I didn't really have an issue with it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun. The art's insane. Really good art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really I'm interested to hear everybody else's opinion. I've read it. I really like Jock on it. Mm-hmm. I think he said something really smart there. I think we're seeing sales pop. The 300,000 sales or whatever the sales number really had, I think, nothing to do with whether it was a good story or not. It had everything to do with it's the Joker, and so it's a big character getting debut, and that's why I think we see and I think we're running out of those people to have that kind of moment with. Joker is probably your height, honestly, of what you want to do. But it was a good issue. I honestly like the over the top monster stuff a little bit much for me, but you know what? You guys, Sully, Dylan, you're gonna have a much better opinion on this than me.
Ooh, me? I liked it. It was interesting. I liked the whole. Like, are we spoiling? Or I don't think we should. But
do it. Who cares?
Oh, really? Okay. Because
they have their chance.
We'll watch the time here. Come back in 5 minutes, or mute it for 5 minutes. That's what we're saying. 5 minutes. We're coming back to normal. Go for it.
Well, I like being proven right when I like kind of like forecast something out of these comics. Sometimes things are so obviously set up that you get these obvious payoffs. That there would be this respecting of the opposites of Batman and Joker, yet in this dark side world of the absolute, everything's flip flopped. So now you don't have billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne. He's blue collar and you know does everything himself DIY. But now you have Joker on the other hand, who is the billionaire archetype with the manor and with the butler and with the reveal of what's behind the grandfather clock. You know, so and then there's also the transformative aspect of the monster and then his backstory too, that this might be the same person. There's like, you know, there's Pennyworth's mystery. He's like, you know, it's Pennyworth explaining to Batman his MI6 dossier on Joker, on who this guy is. And so it's a pretty good story. There's a lot of story crammed into this one issue. Seriously, this is like 3 issues worth of story in one book. And the art is really amazing. I mean, so this one's a big win, and it's Snyder at his strongest.
I've really enjoyed Absolute Batman. Like, for the most part, I think it's been really good. I know I'm one more of the positives on Absolute Batman as far as the show goes. I know most of the time I'm one of the few people talking about how good it is, but this issue for me was a bit of a letdown. Jock was amazing. He killed it. But I just felt like the origin of this Joker, what didn't really land it. It felt like I think he would have been better being a bit more vague with it, because I felt like he didn't really explain too well how this Joker became what he is. He's like, he harvested babies, so that makes him some gigantic big white monster with a bunch of mouths. It's like, this doesn't make any sense at all. It was like, but also he was evil since childhood because he was killing people, performing in an alley. It just
the crime alley.
I felt like this origin wasn't done too well. On the other hand, though, I love the Bane origin. I thought the Bane origin issue with Clayman was great, but this Joker origin, I was like, it wasn't. I would give it like a mid. It wasn't a terrible book or anything. Jock's art is amazing, but the storytelling for it, and we kept going back through the origin. It's just I felt like it wasn't done too well. And again, I'm someone who really enjoys Absolute Batman. I think it's really good. It's just this issue I thought was mid. I didn't really care for this one.
I'm on the whole. By the way, I'm kind of more on your end. I think this Absolute Batman run has been enjoyable. I mean, like, is this the best run of all time? 20 years from now, am I going to have this on my shelf? Probably not. But it's enjoyable. That's not what the bar isn't to create the masterpiece on my shelf for me. It's just to enjoy a comic, and I've enjoyed this run. Yeah. I like the Bane origin better. I'm with you. I think, now, curious what people think about this. I think this issue would have actually played out a lot better if it was almost done, classic Chris Claremont style, where you took a couple pages and they've been telling the story for the last 10 issues as a subplot, as opposed to all in on one. Because when I read it all in on one, it almost, I felt like it, other than the art, and I totally agree there, but it softened the story for me, where I think clearly they wanted to go to the reveal. The entire point, we see some people in the chat speculating that this is about kind of poking at billionaires. I tell you, I think it's simpler than that. I think it's like, what if Bruce Wayne and the Joker were the opposite?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's what this is. It's just they're switched.
I think this is the perfect Joker for a big dumb Batman.
Yeah.
You have big dumb Batman that has absolutely nothing to do with Batman, and so you have a Joker that's big monster Joker that has absolutely nothing to do with the Joker. Sure, fucking why not?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's the duality of the two characters, and so we're seeing the opposite end. But I would have kind of loved to see this plot play out over the last several issues, just in a kind of the old X-Men subplot style. To me, I think that might have made it more kind of creepy and powerful as it went along. But what do you guys think?
Yeah. Also, like, with to the point of like what Doc is saying with this being big dumb Joker for big dumb Batman, it's like he kind of painted himself in a corner with what we had with Bane. Because if you have more of a normal Joker, what is he gonna do to this Batman? Like what he just went through with Bane, there's not much you could do with the next villain except just go more insane.
Croc, right? They're all ginormous, so. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna get smaller. That's for sure.
Yeah,
right.
Like I hope after this we go for like some other variable, then they're just bigger and more crazy. But I get that the follow up to what we just had with Bane is like you gotta go with something even more threatening, because that was crazy. Like with what happened with that Bane, he had to pull out all the stops to take him out.
Yeah. No,
absolutely. Hugo Strange is gonna be a planet, dude.
Watch. Did you see the brief I guess outrage or people calling Snyder right wing over this comic because of the babies, because they were inferring that the baby was an anti-abortion message, and so they were saying this is him doing a right-wing talking point, an anti-abortion message, and it's
his message that he was evil because he was using the babies and like collecting their blood to make himself more powerful.
No, I look. This is the example.
I thought it was an anti-Bill Gates message.
Yeah,
I just feel like everything's been so politicized now. Everyone's politics.
They're looking for it, right?
They read, and I feel like you could find something you dislike in everything and tie it back to whatever you're passionate about if you're not careful. Again, no doubt politics has come into comics, and it's been like that for a long time. I'm not a big fan of it, but I know it's going to happen because it's been happening since I was a kid. But you can't try and find it in everything you read, or you're not going to like anything, man, because it's very, I think you got to be careful with that.
You just like the adrenaline rush of the outrage. That's it. Just becomes about that, and then you like what you like is politics, and you're just fitting everything into it. But I just thought it was funny. You hear a lot of talk about the other direction, and I'm sure Snyder didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
no, because my takeaway was that it was very anti like billionaire, trillionaire type of thing, to where you can't give somebody too many resources and power, or they're gonna literally steal the essence of babies.
Yeah, well, that's what I do.
Well, maybe.
I'm just wanting a little bit more powers for a little bit more babies, and then my plan is complete.
But I didn't get that out of the story at all, Ferch.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny to watch.
Hard to get there.
One of the fun things about now Twitter and Blue Sky kind of diverging is that you get kind of angry outrage on both ends, unfettered. They don't cross over as much, and so you can see people really just go into their various crazy towns in their own universes, and so that I don't know how much you guys spend on Blue Sky, but I have one person, which I wish he would stop, send me on a regular basis the things that are going on Blue Sky, and it is a cavalcade of silly nonsense every day.
Nobody sends me anything from Blue Sky.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuts.
Better that way.
I'm on all of it, and I go in. I let people know what I'm doing. I let people know who I'm interviewing, and then I'm out. So I don't really spend a lot of time going through a lot of the drama that's going on. I'm not a very political person in general, so none of that appeals to me. This is what I'm doing today, and then I'm out.
It is. Perch, are you telling me I need to do a Scott Snyder is anti-abortion and this is evil video?
You would confuse so many people if you did that. So I definitely think you should do that, and that would be hilarious. But it would be bad for your channel. There will a lot of the people would not get the joke.
Yeah.
No offense to the crowd, but you know it's true.
Yeah, that was that's a really strange take. What did you? I'm sure you already talked about it. Were you impressed by this issue? Because I was pretty let down, just kind of repetitively telling the same origin but making it darker with the dialogue going back and forth.
We did go through it a bit, so for the benefit of the audience, but I think anybody did a different take on it. I like Dylan. I like the Bane origin story better. Wasn't bad.
Yeah. It's just the conversation. Just tell me more. Like, I don't want to tell you. Tell me now. Like, okay, I'll tell you what I think. Probably better.
I like that narrative.
Read the comic in that voice now. That's what's going to be. Yeah, your voice is now going to be how I read Batman.
It's like Pennyworth's voice.
Woman, what you doing? Come over here.
God damn it, Alfred. Tell me what's going on. I don't want to. It's strange.
You definitely need to have the comic up and just voice everything now, Wes.
I did that a little bit. Doc and I reviewed Unbreakable X-Men, and then anytime that Gambit is speaking, it's Bobby Boucher, but anytime Rogue is speaking, it's Foghorn Leghorn. And then finally the accents make sense.
Yeah.
So I like that. We need to this is to bring up something from the past. Who's that? Crap, I'm forgetting. There's a YouTuber a long time ago. This is like old 2018. And he would do reviews of these books, and he would just roast them, and it was hilarious. And I guess he lost his mind. I missed that part. That's it. That's the guy.
He didn't lose his mind. He found God. He's got a channel now. It's pretty big. It's pretty funny.
Okay, I don't.
But
all
he
right, my
doesn't do that
apologies.
stuff anymore.
But his parodies of this stuff were hilarious. The voices he would do were just hysterical. I mean, that was the fun I had back in 2017. And so I would love for something like the roasting is just not at the quality level it used to be at. We gotta get back there.
All right. Purchase put me on blast. I need to up my roast game.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
if you like Nurkish, he's got, I think it's Nurkish at Night.
Okay, yeah, I'll go look at that.
Yeah, he's
Nurkish at Night definitely sounds like a Christian channel.
So, first, what do you think about this dominance of the absolute universe? Like I told you in the video, I've had a retailer be like, I think this might overtake everything at DC Comics. What's the longevity of this thing? Can it really last for like 5 years? Can they stay that strong?
No. And there was a good point made earlier, I think, not by me, that they're getting this benefit because they're rolling out the absolute versions of some of these big characters, but there's a limit to that, right? You're not going to, by the time they do get to absolute Hugo Strange, I mean, that's not going to have the same boom as Joker. You're seeing them go through the greatest hits right now. It will, it will go down. It's not going to take out over the universe for sure.
Should he have blown through like Penguin, Two-Face, and Riddler in one book?
No, I wouldn't. I would have spaced it out. But I mean, I think they've got like a 3-year plan, 4-year plan with this, and then they clearly want this stuff to filter its way into the regular universe, and which is smart. But I don't. I mean, what the question for me is, I don't think they're going to pull the plug on Absolute. I think that initially they might have thought we're going to do this, and it'll lead back to the KO event and everything we're doing right now, and we'll wrap it up. But now I think they're going to have to do Elseworld stuff with the Absolute universe. So I don't think they're going to kill it off. But then again,
so would it be like a Dark Knight Returns where you still get series in that universe?
I think so. That's my guess. I don't know what the rest of you guys think, but there's speed running through a bunch of things that are going to make it hard to sustain. So I that's just my take.
Yeah, because they've already got Ra's al Ghul, obviously, he's in Superman with Talia, so there's a couple of major villains there. Got Black Mask, Penguin, Riddler, Two-Face, Joker, Bane. Poison Ivy we've already seen, but she's going to get a big issue with Canetti soon, so that'll be pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Man, what's up with the hot streak that Canetti's on, Perch? I noticed that he's got like all these covers now, and now he's doing interiors on an Absolute Batman book. That's awesome.
Sweet.
It's like he's talented.
It's like they figured it out finally.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. He doesn't piss. I mean, he generally, not generally, he doesn't piss anybody off. He's a really nice guy, and he's talented. It's amazing. Those two things sometimes work out.
Yeah, it's really lucky that he came back, because he left comic books to pursue video games, and he did that for a long time. And then, obviously he came back for his passion in comic books about 4 or 5 years ago, and he's just kind of been building his profile. It's good to see it like pay off. I'd love to see more people come back.
Yeah. No, I think he's just you love to see good people. He never got in any of these wars that went on one side or the other. He just got better and better. I can turn right now and I've got a piece of his art on my wall. So he's a really good guy.
Is it one of his Spider-Man, or you get something new?
I got a Transformers piece that he did.
Oh yeah, he was doing lots of Transformers there for a minute.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy.
Yeah,
I just did a quick AI what villains within Batman have not been added. And I don't know if it's correct, but you have Hugo Strange, Court of Owls, Killer Moth, Firefly, Azrael, Dollmaker, Ragdoll. Like out of that list, I'm sure I'm missing some, but out of that list, what's going to do what Joker just did moving forward?
None. There are none.
Yeah.
Who do you want to see, Dylan? Who's coming up?
Oh man, who do I want to see in Absolute Batman? I mean, you could do some Prometheus would be cool. I'd like to see what Absolute Prometheus would look like.
Yeah.
I think Court of Owls would be cool.
Flashpoint Batman. An
absolute Flashpoint Batman.
Right?
Or I'll up to 11, yo.
Ooh,
I'm thinking Absolute Earth 3 Owlman. Absolute Reverse Flash, to be honest. I mean, or
that's the
Barry Allen.
That's the one really big villain, but I'm assuming that one's going into Flash with Jeff Lemire.
Mm.
Yeah.
But that's been a weird book, person. I wanted to love the Absolute Flash book, but I still don't know what Wally West wants to do with his life. I think he's just running.
Yeah, I think that. Look, somebody asked me this question the other day, and again, I think this panel's probably talked about before. To me, Absolute Wonder Woman, the absolute shock of the series. I think that's just a damn good
shock
book.
Of the century, dude.
Yeah,
it's really
quite good. Batman, fun, enjoyable. I think not as good a book in many ways as Absolute Wonder Woman, but a fun book and maybe a funner book, if you will, if that makes any sense. Superman, okay. I think it's all right for me. And the others haven't taken. for me. I think Green Lantern is all right. If I'm stack ranking, it's probably there. And then you got Flash. I didn't like I said earlier, full disclosure, I had Dennis Camp. His writing doesn't hit for me. Again, no real reason why, but it just doesn't. And so I'm Absolute Manhunter that everyone else just loved the hell out of. I'm like, okay, you did a page gimmick where you can hold it up to light, and that's cool. I guess creative, but I just didn't. And I love those kinds of books typically, but this one didn't work for me.
I love the art though.
Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, the art's good. A lot of these in some, whatever. Art and story separating out.
I'm a big Jeff Lemire fan, and Absolute Flash is moving at a snail's pace. Ironically, that's the problem. He needs to speed it up, because Absolute Flash is just like, we're just treading water every issue. It's like, get to it. Come on. I like Jeff Lemire a lot, but this is he's not exactly killing it on Absolute Flash.
Yeah, the volume needs to definitely be turned up a little bit. Yeah, couldn't agree more. But I really like Jeff Lemire.
Yeah. So it's been interesting. Are we going to be getting expansion out? I know they talked about Absolute Deathstroke, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did. That was going to happen, and then it's not happening.
Yeah, we're getting the mainline Deathstroke book. We're getting Deathstroke the Terminator, which they haven't announced the creative team yet. So I imagine they won't be announcing 2 new Deathstroke books.
I think it's too late now, and I don't think you throw I don't think you throw it in at this point to the Absolute Universe. It's kind of too late. But I do know there was it didn't land with that creator. So
yeah, we had him tease an Absolute Batman with Alfred. He worked with Alfred. Slade was there, so
yeah,
we know he's out and about somewhere doing something.
Yeah, and he said that he's met 3 of the Arkham monsters. One of them was KG Beast, so I guess we could get that guy in Absolute Batman.
That's true.
Deathstroke, and then there was another one that they teased that I thought was Ra's al Ghul, but we'd already seen him, so I think it might not be him.
Isn't Green Arrow the next one?
Isn't he
we're
dead?
getting that. Yeah, but he's dead. But we're getting an Absolute Green Arrow, which is going to be like a limited series. Yeah, we're getting that, but they have not announced who it. We don't, because he was on the phone with Roy, so it could be Roy.
Right.
We don't know who it's going to be. But also, Roy could have been the one who sold him out, because he was telling Roy about, like, I'm going to go do all this, that, and the other. And then Hawkman murders him, bashes his head in. So it's like, maybe Roy sold him out. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Snyder needs to do. Take some of the bigger heroes that haven't showed up in the Absolute Universe and make them Batman villains. Maybe that could do something like Absolute Joker.
Yeah.
You could, but we're clearly, I mean, I don't know. You guys are great. It feels like we're rushing to the end game here. I don't feel like I don't feel like there's a 3-year plan behind this. I think that, we're
he
now
says he's outlined 3 years worth of stories, right?
He did, but was that's starting from issue 1, correct? So we're halfway through that now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that feels about right. I think he's going to you're going to get at least a Bane level longer arc with Joker. So if you take that out of the mix, then how much time do we really have left? I think we've got maybe a pit stop of some kind of interesting villain he wants to write. Maybe it's a Court of Owls, and then we do the Joker, and then we kind of wrap up. And then I think like I said, they'll go into these Elseworld type stories where it's like, what if Shazam was a dick, and then they could fight.
Do you think there's a lot of surprise of how big this has become for DC and Scott?
Yeah, 100%. I think they thought it would do well, but not this well. And I think it's a combination of it was something new and fresh. And the lessons, this is a whole video topic and would be a wonderful stream. And I would love to do it with all of you. And maybe I'll convince you to do it on my channel for some, or we give Wes the money. That's fine. Happy to do that. But
I'll do it with you, dude.
We'll do it. But I think, why did this work? And really get into why this worked. Because I mean, my theory is they didn't try and do something. It sounds like they definitely did something crazy with the characters. They had them in different ways, and it was a different status quo. But they also leaned in on the action in these books, especially the ones that hit. Look at Kelly Thompson's Wonder Woman. There's a new mythology, new origin, new everything else. But they put kind of the core of the character, that action, in the center, and they just leaned in hard on it, and it went. So why did the Absolute Universe books work? And then the follow-up question was, do you think DC will understand why they worked and be able to replicate it? Or will they take the wrong message out of it?
Do you think they've made it easier for people who haven't grown up with Batman to be able to jump in and not feel like they're missing out on a lot, since everything is kind of new?
Yeah, I totally do. I think that's a great point.
Part of it, right?
Yeah.
That's why they should have released that first volume of Absolute Batman in the DC compact size format on day one. What a huge miss, dude.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, yeah, or at least I would have them coming out kind of like manga does. I would, at the very least, have as soon as that 6th issue dropped, whatever, it's in the store same week, and just like day and date, have them out there, manga size, go. I'm surprised they haven't done that. I still have to believe they'll get to it at some point, but this is it's been interesting to see how it's all worked.
Seems like it's a younger audience.
Yeah. And somebody put in the chat, they don't think it will age well. I agree. I don't think this will age that well. That's why it's not going to be in 20 years. You know, I see a couple of you, will you have this book on your shelves in 20 years? I tend to doubt it. Not like Watchmen or Born Again or stories like that. It's not like that. But take the money now.
Now, you talked about learning the lessons, the right lessons or wrong lessons. I have a feeling that Marvel will learn all the wrong lessons. And that might be one of the reasons that they're shutting their Ultimate Universe down early so they can relaunch 3.0 and just make really dark versions.
Yeah. I do think this is why this would be such an awesome, and I legitimately need like 3-hour show where we really go into it and bring some examples. And I mean, we should try it. What lessons do we think likely to take from it? I do think there's going to be, and I think there's a perception at DC that we just went super crazy, super dark, and that's what everybody responded to. And I sure that helps with Flash and kind of grabbing somebody's attention. But like the points that you guys made, there's no, you could just pick it up and start reading. You really didn't need to know. And it is always successful when you have little Easter eggs for the people who do know. So they, oh, look, that's Catwoman in the background there. That's who that is. And so you get both audiences really wrapped up early. And it's tried and true to some extent. It's smart. And I think that's what made it work. I can completely see Marvel going, we're just going to make the most dark version, in this one, Daredevil's a rapist. Let's see how that goes. And it's like that's the kind of stuff that, I mean, you laugh, but right.
It's a little too you might be right. But you are right. Like that one Bane issue where he's basically just beating Bruce Wayne down over and over again as he keeps escaping his cell. But as he's going through Arc M, you're seeing like all the names of these projects. You're like, oh, that's Poison Ivy, that's so and so, that's so and so. As somebody that knows all the characters, it made it that much better. But if you didn't know, you didn't even know.
Yeah, and it didn't matter. You didn't feel like. This is a thing I think comics get wrong from time to time is those moments when they're Easter eggs for fans, you get excited. Dylan's like, oh, I know that name. And it's kind of cool. It rewards you. Okay. Or Sully. I keep pointing to Dylan. I'm trying to bring everybody into this. And Doc's just quiet. Come on, Doc. But it's good for you guys. But if you're new to comics, none of this feels like, shit, I got to go read 50 issues to understand this reference. And it's they tip. Just if it's really subtle, it's great. And when they tip too far into it, it sucks. And it's a balance. They got it right for a lot of these issues. And that's cool.
Well, and certainly they needed to get Batman right, and that's the flagship book. And I think taking somebody with a tremendous amount of success on Batman and putting him front and center with a great artist that maybe not everybody knew, but should have known, Nick Dragotta, leading the way, I think was the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the long-term thing for DC, again, somebody in the chat also said this is a moment. So that's why the lesson needs to be learned really well here. 3 years from now, have you taken the success here and brought it to your core books and like what have you learned here that you can bring there? That is the test. And it's hard. That's what they need to do.
Like if you can put Dragotta and Snyder on to replace, Matt Fraction, in the next run of Batman on the Batman title. I mean, that could be the next step. It was like, okay, why don't we keep these creators together? Because when you got a good battery, like a pitcher and a catcher on a baseball team, calling pitches and running it, that's where it's at. I love it when you get a good creative team, and that's where the real strength of it. Because like something like when we go through comics this week, it's like we have so many strong comics this week, but what makes them strong? Really decent writer and a really good artist, and keep these teams together.
the New 52 had a lot of benefit from the Snyder Capullo team that helped carry that anchor. Look, there's a guy, and look, I want to say I agree with you. This guy's kind of, I think, being a little sarcastic here, saying, the Archie zombie books, look what happened there. No, you're actually correct. Your point is correct. They did sell well for those 9 months, and that was good. That gave them money. That's what you need. But the message you take from that should not be, let's do 20 more years of Archie zombie books, because you will blow it out and nobody will read that. But why did you get people to pick up those books? It wasn't just because it was Archie and zombies. There was something new and fresh. How do you take that spirit and bring it into other things?
Yeah, and how do you get that to attach it to something that maybe not doing so well and start rising it up with it and really just kind of raising the profile of everything?
Get your money now, learn the lesson, invest, go bigger again, and just keep growing your business.
So when does Marvel finally start fighting back, Doc? I know you're the big Marvel zombie here. When do they finally decide, you know what, DC's kind of making us look bad? Maybe we still sell more comic books overall because we produce 30 more books in a month, but they've dominated the top 10 for over a year at this point. We've got to do something.
They don't. They don't. Their ego will not allow them.
They wait out DC.
Their ego will not allow them to make changes in response to somebody else. They will not fucking do it. They have convinced themselves that their way is the perfect way, that any criticism isn't justified, and it does that the market is wrong, and that in the end it'll bear out. That is the ego and the stupidity and the stubbornness of this company, and it's not going to fucking change. Everyone that would have considered change is long gone. Every single one of them, because Tom Brevoort, that man is never going to change a fucking thing. He doesn't think there's a thing wrong with anything he's doing, and he's going to keep doing it. The rest of the editorial staff, exact same fucking thing. CB Cebulski, who knows? He's just more interested in where he's going to get his next plate of sushi. And because that man was fucking neutered before he walked in the door. And the creative teams, they're not going to change them either. They're just going to keep shuffling deck chairs around on the goddamn Titanic the same way they've been for most of the past decade. They have not changed a thing in 10 years.
Look, Doc's bringing up something very truthful. The Marvel is an arrogant company. If you were a retailer, if you were in these shows and you dealt with a lot of those people, they are highly arrogant. These are the people who you'd ask them, hey, can I get some promotional materials from the store? I'll pay for it. And it's like, that's your problem. You should just feel grateful that you're selling our comics. And by the way, if you do something too nice, we'll sue you. There is an attitude that's existed for 30 years in this company. It is not new, and it is part of their culture. I think, by the way, people are way too generous to Cebulski around the neutering when he came out the door. Dude, he was like that before he got this job. If you look at his books, he's always been this way. What's going to change? He's got to go, as well as Brevoort, as well as a lot of the leadership there. It does need to be replaced, and some of them are aging out. There's retirements coming, and everything else. So maybe, but right now, when a company has such a strong culture, and I can tell you, ordering comics from them in 1995 and dealing with those people, they were pricks then, they're pricks now at the corporate kind of culture level. And that permeates to exactly what was said was, when other companies do things right, they will bend over backwards to ignore it, pretend that it's actually not right, come up with reasons why it's a lie. I mean, they eventually change sometimes happens years later when they finally figure out a way to tuck their tails between their legs and do it without admitting they're doing it. But the company is very arrogant. They're in a hole right now. And there's not going to be somebody, it was a bit of theater, but Jeff Johns standing up going, hey, we went wrong with some of this DCU stuff, and that's why we're doing Rebirth. There's no way in hell anybody in Marvel's doing that.
Not only that, but at the end of the day, you made a good point. A lot of these folks their tenures are coming to an end. The problem is, who's behind them? They're acolytes, the same people that learned under them. So there's not going to be any change. Even I feel like CM Punk right now talking about like, the only thing that we can hope for is when Vince fucking dies, but then his doofus kid or his dumbass son-in-law will end up running the fucking company. That it's exactly the same situation.
It is, and CM Punk is currently taking money from that company, so there's some irony there. But I hear you. Yeah, and by the way, somebody said, does Marvel still hold a grudge against the Image guys? Right? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. You still will get this. I still will hear this in conversations with them. There's people who were not born when Liefeld and Todd left, who are Marvel editors today, who are pissed that happened. It's wild.
Yeah, and honestly, if you go back to 1994, before, so pre-Heroes were born and post Exit, if those guys hadn't succeeded at DC, or I mean at Image, if Image didn't succeed, every single one of those people would not be in comics today. They would never have gotten rehired. So they hold a fucking grudge forever. They are never, and they will not change their minds. So when will Marvel react? Half past never. Yeah,
the only time they ever kind of went to admitted some, or at least showed any kind of weakness, was when they did do Heroes Reborn. They reached back out to Liefeld and Jim Lee, and they brought them in. And I will tell you, even there, it was a bitter pill to swallow. They were forced to do that by their investors at the time. Remember, they were going through bankruptcy in that moment, and they were relatively forced to bring those creators in. They hated it then. They hated it every step of the way, and that's part of the reason why it's so burned into their system. They felt like they were held by gunpoint to do that. It didn't work, so they felt justified in why this all happened. It's a weird company, but a lot of you work for places, you see how corporate culture can kind of permeate things. That's the problem.
And here's the thing, and I mean, Marvel is to the point, and I think one of the reasons why is they got burned by artists twice, because the ones that replaced Jim and Rob and Mark and Jim and Eric, the ones that replaced them also left. The Hitches and the Kubert stuck around for the most part, but your fucking Capullo and Joe Mad and all the rest of them, they also dipped out and then went to Image. And then that's when Marvel started focusing on their writers. And then all of them did it too. They all did it too. Your Mark Miller did it. Brubaker did it. A couple, Hickman sorta did it. Bendis didn't leave though. Remender left. Bendis was the only one that really didn't leave. But if you look at it like that, and now you've seen it, their corporate culture is, we will let no one become a star. That's why they cancel things. That's why they reboot things. That's why they switch creative teams. That's why they never do anything. And anybody that actually has any fucking talent doesn't get consistent work. That's why a Jeremy Adams or a Josh Williamson does not work consistently.
The corporate culture is the characters of the stars. The workers are the tradesmen and women who come in and out, and that they're honored to work with our portfolio. The big change moment we're going to get to, I don't think there's that many acolytes under these people, because just like the senior editors and some of the bigger names, the Brevoort, Spolskys, the Nick Lowe's, and so on, they also are paranoid about the people coming up from under them. So just like they're doing with the talent, they're doing a lot of the editors. If you talk to a lot of that kind of mid-level and below editors, they're not letting those people up. They're not making stars there either. So there really is no backfill coming. The likely scenario is that Disney starts licensing this stuff out to another company. You're going to get, hypothetically, you're going to get like a Dynamite. It's going to take over the line, and you're going to have entirely new leadership that's going to put this stuff together. And that's where you're going to see a shift. But that's not anytime soon.
Like the Marvel Knights days, but on a much larger scale.
Yeah, from a complete corporate perspective. Yeah.
In the exact opposite direction, too. Because it's going to be see Marvel Knights and Heroes Reborn worked because they handed a budget and creative control to creatives, but they took in all the revenue. The outsourcing of it is going to work in the exact opposite way, and it will be a giant crash to the industry because they're going to demand money, but then you keep most of what you make. You pay them to use their product, and then you keep a majority of what your revenue is. So you have to actually do better than Marvel in order to make Marvel comics and make any money. That's going to be, and it's never going to work. It's going to be it's going to be Hasbro for basically up until like for the last 25 years, up until Skybound. And we still don't know how. I mean, while Skybound is doing a very, very good job and everybody loves it, and I have no real inside information on whether or not it is a profitable venture for Skybound other than moving material. But I don't know how much.
It's profitable. It is profitable. I can tell you, hands down, it's profitable. It's not profitable like I think YouTube. I think that kind of our circle inflates it a little bit as like these books are just the top sellers of all time, and that's not happening. No. But they are profitable, and frankly, I think you hit on. If I was to lay one prediction, I had to predict one path for Marvel in the future. I think Kirkman right now is building up the infrastructure with Skybound to be that licensor. And I think when everything was play out, if it's going to go somewhere, it will go to him. He'll be the new Jim Shooter or CB Skolsky or Axelons or whatever of Marvel's line, and he'll run. That's a wild take. That's a wild prediction in the end of 2025. But to me, that's where this all goes.
I think you're probably not that far off. I think that would be the way to go. But the ROI on it, Disney, I think that is the long-term end. I think there's going to have at least 2 or 3 other people with more brains or more money than brains that bites on whatever Disney's going to ask for it, for the license first.
Disney's license terms are a lot better than Marvel's, for what it's worth. I think Disney Publishing and what they do, I mean, they still demand a lion's share, but you can make it work with Disney. You see Dynamite making it work with Disney on some things, Mad Cave, I think, as well. Their license terms, you can still, they understand that you can't burn down everything around you and take all the money. Marvel's terms suck ass. And I from very personal experience, Marvel's terms are terrible. Disney's terms you can work with.
Well, part of the reasons why Disney's terms you can work with is because for the last 60 years, duck books don't sell.
Well, no, I mean, but overall, like they're not gonna. They're more restrained, I would say. I know that's crazy, but look, it's like
But no. What my point is, are they restrained because they're reasonable, or are they restrained because they know that there's a limit for the
non-superhero
publishing rights in comic or licensing?
Yeah, my point is when they make like Mickey on blankets and rice cookers and car stickers and everything else, I mean that's all licensed. They're despite what the internet says, they are businessmen. And Disney knows how to make money. They turn the crank, and the licensing business is probably one of the healthier parts of their business. They've jacked theme park price and everything else, but the licensing business they know, and they definitely. I'm not saying they're wonderful and everything else, but they don't screw everything over. It's why you do have so many decent license projects. Why small companies can do something with a Disney license and still make money. They know what that ecosystem looks like, and they're good at it. Marvel has always been terrible about this. So to give you an example, like with Disney, they may say, hey, we're taking 50% off the top, but we're going to give you 6 months of grace to help you build your business. And then we're taking 50% off everything you make, hypothetically. Marvel's terms would be, we're going to take 100% of the first year and then you just got to figure out how to feed yourself. And then we'll take 80% off that. And that's kind of how their terms, very high level, often work. They're very, very different. But you know, and I take your point. You know, superheroes are different than Duck Comics, but if Disney gets fully in control of licensing, it will be healthier by huge.
Very nice. Let's hear for the peoples. We got Kalichi Oki, who gifted one thing critical membership. Well, thank you very much. I hope somebody that loves the channel was able to get their hands on that bad boy and are going to enjoy all those bonus reviews and everything. And thank you so much for the generous spirit, Kalichi. Nerd says, every time Perch, Wes, and Doc are on the stream, I feel obligated and compelled to super chat as much as possible. I can't today, but I hope you guys decide to play Marvel Cosmic Invasion.
Is
that a mobile game?
That's the beat 'em up that's coming out, I believe. Like TMNT, like those type of games. Like a side scroll beat 'em up. Yeah.
That's very nice. But there's some people on this channel who are here week in, week out they're not us, that are awesome. And so I always think they need more of the stage.
Well, Doc is here week in, week out, and he's certainly not awesome.
Well, not Doc.
Oh, come on.
No, and Wes is here week in, week out as well. It's kind of his show.
Yeah.
I'm a half pill. I mean, I'm a half poison to the show every time I come on it, because you got a bunch of people like, oh, fuck this Perch guy every time. I mean, like, so
Perch, that is all in your head. No one's ever said
not. I read the comments, but it's fine. I know I come from a different perspective, but you've got good people on the show. You get a good audience, and much credit to you.
I am far more poison than you.
People like it when we get you on the show, Perch, because we have good conversations.
Absolutely.
But I definitely support or appreciate the support. And so is Marvel Cosmic Invasion, is that like PlayStation 5 or something, or is that PC?
PlayStation 4 and 5.
I think it's on like everything.
Very nice.
Yes, everywhere.
So I could get it for my son's Nintendo Switch and steal it from him?
Yeah, it's on Switch and Switch 2. It's on Steam, Xbox, PS4, and PS5. I got that information from the ad in this week's floppy. So we got ad space. You know,
and there's an actual comic.
Is Nightcrawler going to be in that game?
Don't know.
Because that's the character I like to play my fighting games.
I like playing Spider-Man.
Look, Nightcrawler is going to be in all the games because he will be part of the Doomsday film. So you will. That's an easy prediction. You will see Nightcrawler show up everywhere.
I always like using Nightcrawler because he bounces around, and that's kind of like one of the reasons that I like using Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, because you pull people to you.
Mm-hmm.
Sub-Zero could also like bounce around, but I like Scorpion better.
Oh, Spider-Man can do that too. You can whip him and pull him into you, and you pull him right into a punch. I always love that move.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. To be clear, he's not in it today, but my prediction is every character who's in Doomsday will be in Rivals and all these games within the next year.
Nerd says, Perch, West, Doc, Aaron, and Neon all in one place would kill me. I'll get to die happy. Also, question, which comic would you like to see written from the villain or cop's perspective? Perch, have we done one of these with Neon with you? Because he's been on 3 live streams.
I don't know who that is.
Clownfish.
Clownfish.
Clownfish. Yeah, of course I know who that is. Oh, cool. A long time ago.
I think we did. But Aaron wasn't with us.
No.
Yeah.
I don't
definitely not gotten that crew together yet.
People, I talk too much, and then people direct comments to me, and I always feel like I hog the oxygen from everyone else. But
I think your insight's important, Perch.
Yeah.
The
villain's perspective.
Which comic would you like to see written from the villain or cop's perspective?
Gotham Central was great for me.
Gotham Central is really good.
Yeah. I mean, that was really good. Street level, cops dealing with supers. It was kind of almost like a ripoff of Bendis and Emming's Powers in a way. Yeah. But the cop procedural, like the madness of these powers in these world. But I mean, Gotham Central was good stuff. That's what I'd suggest.
Hey, this is okay. I'll throw out a wild one. Very niche. I'd love to see a Jigsaw comic, the Punisher villain, the Jigsaw character. I think if you did like a serial killer, do a red label, black. I mean, just very dark. If you want to do a dark book, build that character up as a really sinister villain in the Marvel universe. He's not a super powered thing, but you need a couple more of those, just really kind of sick, crazy villains. That'd be an interesting one for Marvel to put some time into. And then you give Daredevil and the Punisher and some of these characters somebody pretty threatening and crazy to fight. Not that, because with all their other street level villains, they turn them into mob bosses kind of immediately. And it's like, let's get one who's actually a psychopath out there that is threatening and scary, and let's try that.
Yeah.
I would love to
Man,
see that.
I thought I
That
saw that
nobody
character
liked.
in the Carnage book, but now I think about it, it's Muse, who's
Yeah.
definitely a serial killer.
Yeah, Muse is fine, but Jigsaw, you could do just a gritty as hell. Really make that character terrifying over 6 issues, and then have that character be a bigger villain in the street level books. That would be cool.
Kalichioki, are you excited for the Doomsday lineup, Doc?
Not really.
Have you heard the Avengers team?
No, I don't even know
It's
which
Falcon
Avengers
Cap's
team.
team. It's got Thor, Loki, Shang-Chi, Falcon, the new Falcon, and there's another character, right?
God, that fucking team sucks.
Yeah, it
The
doesn't.
team's
sound
overpowered. I'm sorry. I mean, everybody focused on the Shang-Chi part. But you got like Thor and Loki in a team. What's the point of the others?
Why would Loki follow Falcon Cap?
He's going to be the guy. He's the Beyonder type character in this one.
Yeah,
Is the
there's
Vision?
look. He's here to
Move the plot forward.
yes, basically. But look,
bring in
this is
multiverse stuff with the TVA because you got all that crossover from his show.
you have a,
It's
I hope you have a
Ant-Man.
bunch of people.
That's what you're thinking of. It's Ant-Man who's on that team.
Ant-Man. Yes, that was the last one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so you have a team that mostly sucks. I mean, it's here's the thing. Outside of, I mean, people kind of like Loki, although I think they've liked him less since the Loki show and him becoming a little more sympathetic. I think depending on which version of Thor we get, or is it gonna be
I don't think it's Fat
Doofus
Thor
Thor?
anymore.
It's not going to be
Yeah,
Doofus Thor because Hemsworth came out after the last Thor and was like, I never want to tell a joke again. Essentially, it's not going to be Doofus
Okay.
Thor. He came
All
out
right.
and was very much like, I'm done with that Thor.
Yeah, because like the last 4 fucking movies was him as Doofus Thor. And then so okay.
So you're not excited, is what we're saying.
You got one character that is trying to be redeemed. Like, I mean, in the eyes of the audience, because I think the audience is a little apprehensive about Thor. Nobody wants Falcon Cap. Definitely nobody wants other Falcon. Nobody gave a fuck about that character in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like they kept forgetting. I kept forgetting that there was another
A
Falcon.
new Falcon.
That character hasn't. He was
Okay.
a Latin guy whose name nobody remember.
Danny Ramirez. I think
Does
that's his name, isn't it?
anyone though watch movies? I guess maybe I watch movies differently than a lot of people. Is I go in. I'm the guy who went in to see Battlefield Earth. Okay, in the theater,
I've seen it.
and that film was awful. And it's listed, I think, pretty universally as one of the worst movies of all time.
Barry Pepper gives a great performance in that film.
Well, yeah, I sat in there with beer and popcorn, and I knew I was going into a bad film. It was worse than I expected. The audio cut out at one point in that film for about 5 minutes. No one went back to check on it, and the audience just started making up the dialogue. And it was one of my favorite times was watching this terrible movie. I still remember this fondly in my heart. I go into these movies and like this Avengers Doomsday. Do I want like all these characters on the screen all at once? Feels like a mess.
Yeah.
It hasn't been set up well. I'm going to have a good time in that film. I'm absolutely going to have a good time. I may be roasting it in my mind. I may be super drunk. There may be a lot of things that go on, but I go to these movies, I guess, not expecting to see art, and then I'm rarely disappointed. How do the rest of you guys take it?
Nerd wants to know, Perch, who would you have write your Jigsaw book? I'm going to put up a weird suggestion here, and you're probably going to yell at me.
Tom King,
I think
for
that
sure.
maybe Dan Waters could do that.
Yeah.
Dan Waters would be interesting.
Like he's good at the building up of stuff. I don't find him good at super heroics very well, but I think he could do that one.
I threw out Tom King as a joke too fast. If you're wanting a kind of depressed psychopath type book, King probably is right up more his alley. Although don't want that. I think Brubaker would be interesting to do it. if I could go back 20 years in time, Bendis could be somebody to do it. I think there's I would, but I would go with somebody more unknown, not who writes YA, somebody who writes kind of gritty,
Chris
dark
Condon?
fanfic. Yeah, okay, that's okay. I like that.
His
Philip K.
Western books
Johnson
are
would do a
pretty
good job of that
crazy.
book. Yeah. I don't know. I'd go find somebody who writes kind of gritty serial killer type stories and try that. Probably. I'm not
Gretchen
usually
Felker
one to
Martin?
say- No, I don't want somebody who is a gritty serial killer. I'm talking about somebody who writes. Yeah.
Not gritty serial killer, just weird person.
Gretchen's big book is Monster, about a serial killer, I believe.
Yeah.
Try to be-
Yeah, but good book. I mean, I'm talking about something.
Self-insert.
Yeah, I want something where it actually, like the whoever wrote Silence of the Lambs. You're wanting something like that.
The nerd says that they definitely want you to do the show for the 3+
We'll do it.
hours.
Let's do it. This will be our project. We'll do it. We'll bring on some. We'll get some people to do it. That'd be fun.
I will definitely. I'll do it with you, dude. But it's got to be somewhat early, or I have to clear it with the wife
Yeah, we'll do it.
because she's got to grab the kids and get them out the house.
Early's fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in
Who
European
else wants to
time
join us?
anyway.
Dylan, are you down?
I'm down. Be fun.
We could do it, dude. You haven't done a live stream on your channel in like 2 years, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been about a year and a half.
Yeah, you used to get drunk and make a fool of yourself every Friday or something, right?
True. Yeah, I don't know about fool. Well, yeah, fair enough. I used to love that. I did the best ones. I mean, we had lots of great guests all the time.
Right.
But when Pat Shan would come on,
Uh-huh.
that guy was hilarious, and I would do a bit that a lot of good content come up where we just put a manga title up on the screen, and the game was guess the name of this book because it was in Japanese and no Korean, and it was the funniest stuff. We'd pick the weirdest titles, and Shand was just legendary in that game. It was always good. And I also like bringing on creators onto that thing, and then I would present them with, here's how many books Marvel is publishing this month. And the looks of horror on their faces was always also very, very funny. But a lot of really good guests on that thing.
You had me one time, and we were talking about all the TNA covers from Dynamite.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We have a section in the middle where you just show all the great TNA covers. Another good, a wonderful guest on that show who was always super funny and I thought great about comics. That again, I think this audience probably doesn't love a lot of stuff. Jeff Thorne was always amazing on that channel. He was very knowledgeable about comics and funny, and I love that we got to see different sides of people in that thing.
It would have been really nice if he would have put that knowledge or interest into his actual comic books, but he never managed that part.
This would be a great show to do actually amongst us. He is I would say if there was a trivia contest between him and a lot of people, I put him up against a lot of people in terms of college comic knowledge, like because he knows it. And is there a point where that actually is a detriment? Because if you look at his Green Lantern series, he was fixing a lot of continuity shit from like 30, 40 years ago, and the audience had no idea what he was doing. Because it predated them. And so I think, is there an argument that sometimes going too deep and having too much
and
of that
fixing stuff that bothers you but nobody else cares about?
Yeah, it's
Wait,
too
yeah,
far
that-
down the rabbit hole.
See, I don't know if that's necessarily an issue with having too much knowledge or having too self-absorbed of a worldview. Because
Yeah,
look,
maybe.
it's and taking that whole, hey, write what you love, not write what what only you cares about, which is
No,
the
I-
problem
I-
with most
yeah,
comics these days.
This would be an awesome 2-hour debate. I think I would love, because you see writers. I mean, another example, when Claremont came back to the X-Men, this is after he was kicked off and then came back. That next run of his was not great, but he was doing the same thing. He was out like, I'm going to fix something from the 70s, and it's like, ooh, nobody cares anymore. And I think there's a bunch of examples of that. That'd be a fun show, or it'd be a
Remember
nerdy
when
show.
J.J. Abrams came back to Star Wars and tried to fix the entire second movie?
Yeah, well, that was fun. And by the way, guy in the chat, I love you, Tom Cruise, but Tom Cruise nuked my account. To hell with you. Claremont sucked after Paul Smith. The Mutant Massacre, that whole era, you got to be kidding me. That stuff was awesome. That was such an amazing run. I love Paul Smith to death, but that was a great run. You got Silvestri in there killing it, and Romita, and some of the best X-Men issues are in that area. Disagree.
Federico Della Casa in Italy, CB was present at 2 Comic-Cons and presented their comics like they sold millions when ASM does like 45,000 copies. They sell lies.
Oh,
yeah, it's an arrogance.
I mean, they won't know. It's Europe. They don't know what the fuck America does.
Oh, they all know. Trust me. They know.
CB also comes down here when he comes to Comic-Cons looking for
artists,
underpriced talent. Yeah. So hopefully you got a shot, Federico. Brad Frederick, is there truth or rumor that Remender was offered ASM before Kelly and turned it down? So I hadn't heard that one first. I heard that he was offered Batman and X-Men and turned both of those down. Did he also turn down ASM?
I could with fairly good authority. I say, yes, that is true.
Wow. That dude really just doesn't give a fuck. I love it.
No, I mean he made a scary decision, and he wrote about it. I mean, he was pretty open about it to leave because the mental BS he was going through, and the people were stabbing in the back, and the other stuff that folks like our absolute Wonder Woman writer and others were doing to him. Like he was putting up with a lot of crap, and then he's like, I'm going to take a massive leap of faith and try doing my own thing, and that hasn't been an easy struggle. I think he's struggled for sure, but much power to him. He is stuck with his guns, and now he kind of understands his world, and he's not going to put himself back into that hornet's nest.
Have you told him or sold him on the idea? Think about if you were the ASM writer and all the people you could stab in the back.
He's
right.
Yeah, no, he's just not that. I think he is kind of your classic, to some extent, introverted writer. I'm not really doing the guy justice right now with how I'm talking about this, but he doesn't have any part in his body that really wants to get in and throw punches with that. Some people love it. Some people love the politics of it. He definitely does not.
He'd probably better off doing his own thing.
Yeah, I think he's happier.
I don't think he'd write an ASM that's as good as his Sacrificers.
Sacrificers, exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean he's doing good books. The part that I hope, because I always want nice things to happen to people. Like I would love it. Like he just needs some big thing to happen for him. Like one of those books gets adapted to a major movie.
Yeah, like Black Science. I mean, that's an amazing series.
You can't do that as a movie. It's got to be a TV show.
Yeah,
and it's probably so expensive you can't do it on a streamer.
Well, Black Science,
Deadly Class on like Sci-Fi, because that could have been good.
Yeah. I would love to see Black Science on HBO Max or one of these streaming shows, 12 series order, really high-end animation studio that could do something pretty cool.
Animation.
Actually, do the I'm not thinking this morning. There's a Norse series that got canceled on Netflix one season. It was
if you hadn't said that, I would know it.
Yeah. You know, our former Superman director.
Ragnarok.
Yeah, Ragnarok. I'd take that animation team, which was fairly unique, throw it on Black Science, which also had fairly unique art, do a 12-issue run. I'd do a 12.
Oh, are you talking about the Zack Snyder one?
Yeah, the Zack Snyder one. That's what I'm talking about.
The something of the gods.
Yeah. Twilight of the Gods.
Yes.
Yes. An old guy trying to remember things in his memory. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you all for witnessing.
Dylan says that he thinks Escape is the Rick Remender book right now, though.
Oh, so good.
Escape and Sacrifice are both great.
Those are great.
Really good.
I thought Grommets was great too, although that was obviously limited. But you got to be like an '80s kid or a '90s kid to appreciate that one.
That was really good.
I just there's some people who've stuck with their principles, and you want good things to happen to them. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Nerd says do better than Marvel. The bar is really low. Anyone could do better than Marvel. Majority of Marvel's modern success comes from nostalgia, not talent.
Yeah.
My stack of comics this week disagrees. The proof of the pudding's on the plate. I got 4 really good Marvel books this week, and I'll stand by that.
False.
I've got 2.
Yeah, that sounds more like it.
No, I think Marvel had a good week.
Like Marvel I think Marvel's
good week for Marvel, yeah.
I think a big problem with Marvel is like almost every time you talk about good Marvel book, it's like, oh yeah, it's a 6-issue series.
Yeah.
Like you look back, and you're like, what are the best Marvel books of this year? And like all of them are limited series.
Hell
Like,
Hunter, Avengers
Yeah.
versus Aliens. Yeah.
yeah, the Iron Fist book, Marvel Knights Punisher, like all like a lot of the good Marvel books are like limited series.
Well, speaking of, I mean, and tying back to the previous comment, you look at Reminder. He had that X-Force run that was super strong. Oh, that's super cute, by the way, on the screen. You had that X-Force run that was amazing, and part of the dialogue in the stores at the time, you know, other retailers and people were coming to my shop were going like, I don't ever want this to end. Like this series is so good, and you knew it was going to wrap up at some point. You almost dreaded that moment where it's going to wrap up, but you had this longer run, and it was just, there aren't books at Marvel right now that have that same buzz. That's what they need. I think that people are hoping that this Infernal Hulk book will go the distance. Despite what I said earlier, there are Al Ewing fans are loving what he's doing with Thor. So cool. You got that, you know, but you don't have a lot of those big, like, people desperate for that next issue who are just so anxious to get into that store because this run is so wonderful.
Yeah, you don't have a whole lot that's going to make like an omnibus that a bunch of people are going to have on their shelves in like 15 years.
Yeah. By the way, I'll post some photos of this on my channel. I went into a Barnes & Noble last night, and I was surprised because, you know, they did a lot to push manga, and that was one of the big places that was carrying a lot of this stuff. And I was somewhat shocked. You know, manga is the bubble is deflating a bit. You know, you could just tell if you go into these stores and you see the amount of shelf space is shrinking. But the really crazy part about that shelf was you had the Western comic book section. It's down to half a shelf there, and there were all of 8, count them on 2 hands, 8 Marvel books there on the shelf. It was mostly DC and indies. Like, they have been decimated in this place, and all the books they had up there were the Ultimate trades. It was crazy. I'll post some photos of it because it's seeing is believing. But that's the talk about the bar being low for Marvel.
Wow.
Them losing is bad.
None of those $15 new ones, like the digestized ones.
No, I'll put them in. I mean, literally, you zoom in on the shelf. Sorry, I take it back. You've got Fantastic Four and Civil War in that new $15 version, 2 copies of each, and then you have a handful more of all Ultimate books and a Deadpool book, and a Lee Ditko Amazing Spider-Man trade. That was what they had. And then DC had about 2 shelves in there, small shelves, and you had a big batch for Invincible, Walking Dead, you know, all those. You know, to the guy that was on the stream a while back, there was 1 copy of Bone on there. So, you know, hey, you know, a little callback there.
Wow.
But it is one of the biggest ways to kind of see how things are moving in the market is just go in some of these big box stores. Barnes & Noble is a good one. They're actually expanding, which is kind of crazy. And just look at their shelves, and you can kind of see, you know, what's being promoted, what's being hyped, and what's on that wall. And it's interesting to see it.
Federico says Marvel had a Disney mentality before they became Disney.
100%.
Yeah.
Worse. Worse. Disney is easier to work with.
Clicchioki, what about Sadie Sink being Jean Grey in Spider-Man 4? Is that still a rumor, or is that going to confirm? Because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I was hoping for Angelica Jones. I wanted her to be Firestar.
Her character hasn't been announced yet, so it's still all rumors.
Yeah. I'll bet you're right there, Sully. I think it's that.
Because he's of the age. He would be in grad school, and his roommates could be Bobby and Angelica. And that's how you could like dovetail the X-Men through your Spider-Man story. You know, his amazing friends. That's what we want.
Yes. I think we're absolutely. I'll put money down as Firestar.
What if she's Storm? They do a reverse and they take a black person and make him a ginger white person.
That would be really weird.
What if they do a reverse?
I wouldn't like that either.
Yeah, I don't want that.
But the gingers get one back.
The internet would break, but yeah.
I'd be so mad.
Oh man. I thought that everyone had decided that she was Mayday.
I think that
ready
was
for that,
what
yeah.
everybody,
Like from the multiverse or something.
because I think they were going to do multiverse story.
Yeah, or you could have MJ. I mean, you could have Mary Jane because that's Michelle
Yeah, because
Jones.
we never had.
They're not going to do that. They're
Mary
not going to
Jane.
do that because of the
know,
dialogue or surrounding it. There's no way they would.
I know.
That'd be
They're
strange.
2 in. Yeah. No, it's all. I Firestar is a solid bet.
And then he also gifted another channel membership. Thank you so much, brother. Hopefully, whoever gets that one enjoys all the stuff, and I really appreciate all the support. And man, this is a fun show today. I didn't know it was going to happen, but I ended up having a really good time. It's just the perch of it all. He brings so much happiness to.
It has nothing to do with me,
stream.
but this was a fun show. We got some details. Your fans and people watching are the ones who can decide on this. I feel like we got into more detailed business talk that probably bored the shit out of everybody, but I had a great time.
No, we had a full audience. The
the
chat was popping the entire time, dude.
That's good.
We got Pop showing up with the granddaughter.
That is cute as cute as can be.
Oh, abuelo guapo.
Yeah, my wife held out as long as she could, but she had to go run an errand, and she does not want to take her to a store.
Oh, it's all good. I completely understand. I got 3 of them myself.
Yeah.
You're a grandpa, so you've already been through it multiple times.
Yeah, we got 4. So
yeah. There's an age where you don't want to take them anywhere.
Nah, they do not sit in the cart really well. Like for 5 minutes, and then after that, you're carrying them and pushing a cart. It's a pain.
All right, Pop, you got any books you want to recommend this week?
I mean, I know the story wasn't as great, but the art is absolutely incredible and absolute. Batman, Ordained came out. Really enjoyed that. Get that one. Mark Miller, actually being adapted for film.
That's not Mark Miller. That's Robert Venditti and
Robert Venditti.
Bad Idea, right?
But it's being adapted for film. Sorry, yeah, Robert Venditti. Actually, I'll have Robert on in January as well to talk about Ordained and everywhere they're going with Ordained. Aquaman was amazing with Hawkman. That was one of my favorite KOs so far. Obviously, Infernal Hulk, absolutely incredible, man. The art is just next level. Really enjoyed The Punisher. That was a lot of fun too. Loving what Jimmy is doing there. And what else I got? Oh, and then of course, Batman and Robin. I'm so sad that I'm so happy for Philip. He deserves it over at Marvel. But man, that title going into someone else's hands, I'm heartbroken, man. It's one of my favorite comics that are currently out right now, by far. And then I'm probably the only one too. Love Silvestri and all that, and The Darkness they just re-released, which is going to be fun.
Very, very cool. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, Perch, you got any books you want to recommend, dude?
Like I said, it's a good week. I'm working my way down. So I've gone through DC, I've gone through Marvel, and a bit of Image, but that's I haven't gone to a lot of titles that I'm really looking forward to. So I can't necessarily say where I'm going to love it. I'm looking for TMNT. But no, I think
I'm putting it out there.
It is. I think there's some good books. I'd love to see The Darkness back out again. I would just that's memory food for me. So I do appreciate
Ed
that.
Venice art. It looks amazing.
I think both Punisher books are actually pretty decent to read. I think the X lineup is skippable by a mile. Spider-Man and Wolverine is quite good. I like the end. So Steve Orlando, by the way, as I think I joke about him the most on my channel, and he is also one of the nicest guys back to me. So I always feel kind of crappy when I do it. But yeah, check that out. If you're a fan of the 2099 stuff, it's a decent ass book. I mean, pretty good. I like the Amazing Spider-Man this week. Actually, the art on that is fantastic. Infernal Hulk is wonderful. I want to like New Avengers more. I did like Spider-Man doing something in Ultimate Spider-Man. We talked about Absolute Batman. That was good. Totally agree with everything that's been said a lot here. Aquaman was really, really good. I also appreciated, not as a good book, but somebody took, former guy on the show, Joe Corallo. He and I used to this thing right about this time of year called Bad Pitches, where we would come up with the worst possible comic ideas and as jokes. And we would invariably, a handful of people never understood that we were doing jokes, which was always equally funny. But he did a pitch for Supergirl that was pretty much the comic that was that came out by Sophie Campbell this week. It's his idea, and so it's absolutely terrible. But it is fun seeing that bad idea come to life. There you have it.
Beautiful, very beautiful. You got anything big coming up? Or just you taking off for the holidays?
Yeah, I'm unfortunately leaving the country again for a bit, and then all around, and I'll just try and give my kids a nice snowy holiday.
Absolutely, and remember, if you go to Purchase Channel and you start yelling at him in the comments, you're actually yelling at a little girl. So stop doing that.
That is
buddy.
true, and she
Heroes.
she's been punished a few times now, but she can have a bit of a filthy mouth. So you know, if you're gonna go have a fight, you're fighting a 12-year-old. So just keep that in mind. It's very funny.
All
And
right,
you're 100%
Sully,
right. The Magneto being in charge of the school was lame. I did not like that part. So there you go.
All right, Sully, let's hit us with your favorites. I know you got 7 big ones.
I got a stack of funny books. I got a crowdfunder that came in. Gatecrasher by Billy Tucci. This is actually a really nice love letter to the medium and to the public domain Golden Age characters. He does a lot of universe hopping in this and style changes, and this is a really good book for comic book lovers. You know, get a hold of this. It's Gatecrashers by Billy Tucci. I got Aquaman number 12. This was a really good single issue because I'm not really paying attention to KO, but this is strength here that you could just walk into this, understand everything that's going on really easily, and it's great fight scenes. And Aquaman cutting loose and getting mean on one of his friends. Transformers 27, really good kind of slice of life, story, it focuses a lot on the Seekers. We see Starscream in the background. We see what's going on between Thundercracker and Skywarp. And they're a schism between old friends there. And this is a pretty good book. G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, 323. And once again, just it resets. It's setting up for the next arc. And good book. 4 really good Marvel books this week. Ultimate Spider-Man number 23. It's $1 more. It's a little thicker, and it's the penultimate issue. And this is what we've been waiting for. Spider-Man in uniform, beating people up and having adventures. This is a really good book. They saved the best to last. The Punisher, Marvel Knights by Jimmy Palmiotti and Dan Panosian. This book is amazing. The art is so good. I love this. Is the A cover, and it's this wraparound by Panosian himself. This is a really good book. Don't sleep on this. Infernal Hulk number 2. This is a great book. I love Nick Klein's art. This has got to be the loudest comic book you can read. Specifically Nick Klein's Hulk. I mean, the sound effects in this it's a character onto itself. And my pick of the week is got to be Spider-Man Wolverine number 8. Kari Andrews blows me out of the water. Some of these pages are just like TED Talks, you know what I mean, on how to draw a page effectively. 5-panel, story beats, and just rooftop stuff with Logan and Pete. But Guggenheim is really nailing Peter Parker's sense of humor and this great dynamic. I've always loved the dynamic between Spider-Man and Wolverine. This is great, but it's the Kari Andrews art, which is amazing. And thank to everyone out there, and especially the world's best live chat in this ongoing comic book shop style conversation. Thank you so much.
All right, Dylan, what you recommend?
Got some good comics this week. Infernal Hulk continues to be great. Obviously, Nick Klein, one of the best out right now. Same with Philip Kennedy Johnson. Really enjoying what he's setting up with Infernal Hulk. Marvel Knights Punisher. Frank is going through the ringer. If you're not reading Marvel Knights Punisher, you're missing out. It's incredible.
He's a zombie, right?
Yeah, and then some stuff goes down in this. Every issue stuff goes down, but this some stuff happens in this issue, and it's crazy. It's really good though. Dan Panosian, obviously, amazing. I talked about Aquaman. Jeremy Adams set the standard for how these issues should go. These KO tie-ins. He really set the standard with this one. I hope we get more like that following it. Batman Robin, best ongoing at DC. It's incredible. Like Tommy, I'm very sad that we're not going to be getting too much more of this, but it's the best ongoing at DC. It's
wild reveal at the end of that one, dude.
New issue of Geiger was so good. This is all about her, and she's on a tear in this issue, and it's Gary Frank throughout it, because the last issue Gary Frank was on like the last 3 pages. He's finally back for the entire issue, and this one's such a good issue. It's so good. Terminator Metal number 3. This was so much fun. A Terminator shows up in the Old West, and the first person he runs across is an outlaw that's hiding out that killed the town sheriff. So he kills that guy, takes his skin, goes to the town. The entire town's like, that's the guy that killed our sheriff. And they start fighting him instantly. It was a lot of fun. This was really good. Gunslinger Spawn, some more crazy stuff happened. This Jimmy Palmiotti Western, it's a lot of fun. And then G.I. Joe Real American Hero, it's very much set up like Sully was saying, not a whole lot of action in this, but it's still good.
Who's writing Terminator Metal?
It is Declan Shelby and Rory the McConneville.
Declan Shelby and
Declan Shelby.
Yeah.
The definition of beige in comic book writer form.
Well,
But it's good. But this is a good book.
Terminator Metal's good. You should
agree.
read issue 3.
I just did that
I
right
haven't
before the
read that
show.
one.
So I'm inching my way in. That was the first one I hit. I should have had that on my list. I'm totally with you, Dylan. I thought that was a fun issue.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe I'll check that one out. All right, Doc, what do you recommend this week?
All right. So I'm going to recommend everybody go and check out our review of possibly one of the worst comics. Definitely the worst comic I've read in the last year. Probably one of the worst comics, one of the worst X comics that was done ostensibly as a main series issue. I'm not talking about like your little like spin-off mini-series and shit like that.
So like
Those
Sentinels.
are Sentinels, that doesn't count. That the one that that Matthew Rosenberg did a number of years ago, like worst X-Man ever, fucking stupid. All those things, I don't count those. This, however, it's the current replacement for Uncanny X-Men, and it was Unbreakable X-Men. This is the worst fucking comic. Gale, please just go away. Like you've now reached the point of just go away. Like permanently. Just I don't care what the fuck you do. Go back to fucking being a hairdresser, lady. Nobody wants your comic. Because this was a terrible book, and you can see why if you haven't wasted your $4 or $5 or whatever the hell it costs, go watch our review first. That's Monday.
Yeah, it should be.
All right. So what I am going to recommend though is we were talking about cheesecake before. I mean, not really, but a little bit. Some Art Adams goodness on the cover of Classic X-Men #4. Some beautiful Storm art. And then we will go with a little bit more. So this is the Dynamic Forces variant of Danger Girl #2. I mean, come on. It's Abby Chase in a bathtub. You really don't need much more. There's no other explanation needed. Plus interiors by J. Scott Campbell. Seriously, just go fucking find it.
Boy, that reflective light on that cover is just doing us no favors right now. It's just,
I know, right?
Thank you. There you go. That's over there. Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody fucking tell me. I'm stuck behind.
I got it. Yeah. No, I mean we're getting a really crystal clear title and none of what you did. Yeah. Yeah, that was a
none
good
of
time.
the goodness. There we go. And we will go with Uncanny 130. First Dazzler. So yeah. And then finally, since we were talking about Jim Lee before, how about being late, we'll just go with when Wildcats actually got to be a really fucking good book. Alan Moore, Travis Charest. This is Wildcats #21. Yeah, 21. And I think Charest was on most of the next like 30 issues. But Alan Moore was on for about 12, did a really good job, 12, 18 issues, something like that. Really, really good. But great series, great fun, and good art. This is when you get the new Wildcats, the replacement team with Condition Red, and introduces Mr. Majestic as a the better Superman. And I know I'm saying that with Dylan on the show. So there you go. That's my recommendation for this week.
Very, very good. Sorry, I had a little cough there. But I did get a DM. Apparently somebody that's in the know saw something we were talking about and said, no, Sadie Sink is going to be Jean Grey in the Spider-Man movie.
That is absolutely fucking retarded.
We'll see how it goes. I guess they're trying to integrate the X-Men starting after Doomsday. So that'll be very interesting.
So it's Ultimate X-Men.
I have no idea. We haven't got there for that far yet, Doc. Could just be a cameo.
That's weird.
It is weird, isn't it?
Don't
That is the show, everybody. I do want to say thank you very much to the panel and certainly to the chats and so everybody for supporting the channel. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. We've got some football and basketball and all that good stuff. And
hey, you have the retirement of John Cena, man. You the final
John Cena's retirement match tonight.
There you go. Yeah. You can't see it.
You got to have the cock. That's exclusive to Peacock, right?
That is true. You have to have the cock. Yes.
It's and gets the